Hello, and welcome to Doomed, solo playthroughs through Arkham Horror, the card game with a focus on roleplay and storytelling. Welcome one and all to a brand new year, new season, if you will, of Doomed. There's always going to be more Doomed content because I will always be forever doomed. And that's not to say this is bad. This is good. Hello to Blanky Cat, hello to Crosshair. I saw Zen Robo in briefly. Welcome one and all. Happy to have you with us. And Cthulhu is here! Oh wait, I have to play some real-life board games. Shock. Shock and awe. Just gonna move that. Yes! Excellent work, Zen Robo. Love that. Hello, one and all. Cthulhu, see you again soon. Zen, thank you. One of these. I can never get that right. Something like that. Welcome, one and all. I'm very excited to be back with more Doomed content. We ended the... exactly, Blanky. Let's see. Oh, Ellie Spot! All good. I'm always and forever interrupting myself on Doomed, so don't worry about it. Oh, perfect, Cthulhu. Well, then we better get into it. Yeah, we ended 2022 on a note. A cusp of saving the world versus losing everything, and we lost everything. Blanky Cat, that's so exciting. Let me know how pretty it is. Oh, that's the one with all the new versions of the core investigators too, right? Anyway, yes, welcome one and all. We better dive in because we've got a little bit of introing to do. We all have to meet our doomed investigator, Monterey Jack. Monterey Jack. And it's funny because for those of you who aren't familiar, Monterey Jack is a kind of cheese. It's ridiculous. And we have to do the ritual of the drawing of the weaknesses. As a reminder, well, two things. If you're watching this on YouTube, check the video description down below. I've got a link to where we're jumping into the action, if that's where you want to jump to. If you're new-ish to Doomed, this is a roleplay first stream. So yes, we're playing Arkham. Yes, I know how to play. Yes, I'm playing correctly, and I will answer questions if you have any, or take suggestions, etc. But we're doing story first, so decisions will be made on a roleplay basis, also on an attempting to win basis, but you know, that sort of thing. Right, Blanky Cat, sorry, yes, that's what I meant. The parallel investigators are awesome, but they're also, well, print and play, right? Okay, what else do I want to say? I think that's about it. We got a lot to dive into, so I think we should just get to it. That's the other thing I always forgot to mention. If you haven't yet, I've already read and gone through the introduction to this campaign, Edge of the Earth. It's in a separate video. It should be just linked above this on the playlist if you're watching on YouTube. And if not, check out my YouTube channel where you can watch this intro first. It provides some context as to who we are and where we're going. But I think it's time to dive in. Well, we will be starting with Ice and Death, Part 1. Ice, please. Cultist -2 +1 0. That's pretty good, Crosshair. I like that. I mean, I'll take it. Okay. We need to start, as we often do, whoop, wrong person, with our investigator. Who is this? What are they doing here? Quick summary of the introduction. This archaeologist, Mr. Monterey Jack, aka Indiana Jones, is, well, I'll read his introduction again. Let's get a sense of him. Young Jack traveled the world with his father's archaeological expeditions. Now a globe-trotting treasure hunter and an accomplished archaeologist in his own right, Monterey, follows in his father's footsteps, securing the treasures of ancient civilizations and lost cultures. But after discovering a silver pendant with a familiar symbol on it, Monterey must explore his own past. Ooh. Years ago, his father was found murdered, with the very same sigil carved in his forehead. The image has haunted Monterey's dreams ever since, but he's getting close. He won't stop until he solves the mystery of his father's murder, no matter what it takes. Monterey Jack the archaeologist is, for now, a rogue, but he upgrades into Seeker cards. So you can take rogue cards level 0 and neutral cards level 0 to 5, and some Seeker cards level 0, but he upgrades into Seeker. So for now, he's a roguish criminal type, but as he gains experience in Antarctica, he will become a researcher of the mythos, someone seeking the truth. Exactly, Crosshair. More XP, more trauma. In order to highlight Monterey Jack's humble beginnings, perhaps, Monterey Jack has he took out some loans, I would say, in order to make sure that he could accomplish his goals. He has the support of some of the underworld in Arkham, which is an illicit favor. It's a permanent that you purchase at deck creation. I think this is really fun. So your deck cannot include more than one copy of each non-weakness, non-signature card by title. Reduce your deck size by 5. So slightly slimmer deck, only 1-ofs. I felt like it was quite thematic. He's embarking on this expedition with the help of his his rougher connections. But again, as he finds his way through Antarctica, he will be gaining experience, and he'll be finding his way into his true self, the one who is seeking answers. Before we read the introduction, and we'll do the sort of drawing of the weakness ritual, a quick sum up of the introduction for those who didn't watch the video. Monterey Jack was approached by... Oh, Cthulhu! Thank you. As Cthulhu says here, it's cold. Better get some subs. Submarines, I assume, but also subscriptions. Thank you very much, Cthulhu. I really appreciate it. The archaeologist here, Monterey Jack. I'm going to try to call him Jack as much as I can. Exactly, Crosshair. It is very interestingly worded. I think what that means specifically is you can take 2 different copies of the same card as long as they have different titles. So like Archaic Glyphs, Fragments of Truth, and Archaic Glyphs, Glimpses of the Unseen. I made those up, but like something, I don't remember what they're called. But I think you can do that. I think that makes sense. Monterey was approached by Professor William Dyer and his student, Danforth. They had been to Antarctica before, to the Mountains of Madness. They were trying to persuade him to persuade Miskatonic University to not go back. Monterey Jack is convinced that they must go to Antarctica. 2 reasons. 1, he wants to know what's there. Perhaps he's seen images, drawings of full civilizations, but it couldn't be human civilization there, could it? In Antarctica? Insane. Perhaps he could find some treasures to bring back with him to Arkham. And perhaps, just perhaps, he caught a glimpse of that same sigil that was carved into his father's forehead. Perhaps that is where the truth will lead him. So he persuaded Danforth and Professor William Dyer to embark on the expedition along with a whole host of other characters who we are going to meet again very shortly. Aragwen, oh gosh, I'm going to type it in the chat. I'm going to type it in the chat for you. I almost wrote, I'm going to write it too. I almost wrote Aragwent, which you can tell where my head is. It's a card game. All right. Yeah, so that was essentially the introduction. They've embarked on the expedition to Antarctica. These are some of the partners, Professor William Dyer and Danforth. Addict. Aragwen. The expedition is led by Dr. Amy Kensler, the professor of biology. Also on the team are the intrepid explorer Rold and the Antarctic guide Avery, 2 people with whom Jack is going to maintain a very close relationship. Also on the expedition, the doctor, Dr. Mala Sinha, Elia Eshevak, the dog handler for the sled dogs, Crosshair's favorite, right away, Takata Hiroko, the airplane mechanic. I know, Ellie Spot for sure. I was this close to not typing it. And James Cookie Fredericks, dubious choice. He's like a gun-toting wild man. Oh, you love it, Crosshair. Look at this. Look at this. First of all, Crosshair, that's clearly you. Second of all, look at that dog. Don't tell me you wouldn't have that dog with you in Antarctica. Well, that's actually a good point as well, Cthulhu. What do we think? Do we like Cookie? Look at that beard. Look at that toque. Man's wild. His gun's got smoke coming out of it. He just fired, too. Okay. We'll be coming back to those partners momentarily. For now... Flower! Flower, I'm furious. How dare you, Flower? But also correct. Starbucks there we go, edge of the earth. Starbucks pistachio frappe is bomb. Bomb. Can we get some bombs in chat? Blanky, we're going to see what Jack wants to do here. But first, we have to do the ritual drawing of the weaknesses. I will be drawing 3 weaknesses from our pile. Here are all the weaknesses used in past Doom campaigns. Eventually, we'll have to start using them again, but for now, there's still plenty left. Thank you, Flower. And I'm adding to it a new weakness from the new pool of weaknesses in the Scarlet Keys. This is for rogue investigators only, so I'm adding it to the pile. I'm going to draw 3 and choose the one that makes the most thematic sense. Please don't be 3 bad ones. Here they come. Offer you cannot refuse. So there's no flavor here, but clearly this would go hard into Monterey Jack having accepted Underworld support for his expedition, and perhaps he cannot refuse the offer any longer. That's feeling like a good contender. The Devil, which is a tarot card. Your shadow hungers. Ugh. And Hypochondria, which is awful art. I hate it. Hypochondria, of course, is a madness weakness. The implications of which are that you feel that any injury is multiplied tenfold. There it is. I'm definitely taking an offer you cannot refuse. I don't even think it's it's not even a choice. I'm taking it. Now I have to pull the rogue one back out before I forget, because I like to keep this set up later. Pay your due. Take that back out. Put it in the Scarlet Keys pile. It's a risky choice. You better believe it, Cthulhu. Let's have a look at an offer you cannot refuse, shall we? An offer you cannot refuse. It does, Ellie Spot. I should mention, like, I don't usually do a content warnings for these streams, although I maybe should. This game deals with Eldritch Madness, and as such, some of the art can be a little disturbing. Body horror, it doesn't abound, but certainly there is some, so I'll put that out there. An offer you cannot refuse is a pact weakness, which I think goes hand in hand with this Underworld support that Monterey Jack has accepted. When you become the bearer of this weakness, gain 2 experience. Don't mind if I do. I will not spend it right away, because that doesn't feel right. Revelation, so when I draw it from my deck, lose 5 resources. If you cannot, instead, remove offer you cannot refuse from your deck, search the collection for fine print, and place it in the discard pile. Yeah, it looks like it, Blanky. I have a feeling that Jack has always kind of been running in sort of roguish circle. An offer that you can defer. Can I defer this offer? Doesn't say you can't. I just said you can't refuse it. I don't, Crosshair. I have full disclosure, I have a sense of what these cards do, but I don't want to spoil them for myself. Do you? I'm so excited. Yeah, I have a feeling he's like always had kind of roguish connections, but then before this expedition specifically, he went and signed a very important document that allowed the expedition to get some additional funding for him. But the person who was funding it is very mysterious. I am absolutely going to regret this, like, real soon. Okay. Yeah, just keep 5 resources. Exactly, no big deal. So I'm skipping the introduction, the prologue for the whole thing. Oh, good, Ellie Spot, good. Glad to hear it. So I'm keeping the whole prologue is in that separate intro video, but suffice it to say, we're on our trip, and there are 9 companions. Let's jump into scenario 1, Ice and Death. It has been a long 8 weeks since you left Boston, and not without its toil. The Theodosia followed much the same route as its predecessors, the Arkham and the Miskatonic, first sailing southward along the east coast through the Panama Canal before venturing towards the Antarctic Circle. As the weather grew steadily colder, icebergs became more and more of a problem for the ship to navigate, but with the crew's expertise and the logs of previous captains who made the same journey, you make good time. Soon enough, you spy the mist-covered peaks of Mounts Erebus and Terror ahead. Why can't it be Mount Pleasant? You know? Marking the site of Ross Island near the ice shelf that will serve as the expedition's landing spot. As you approach the coast, Dr. Kensler and the rest of the team meet aboard the deck of the Theodosia to discuss your plans. We'll use the same breach buoy system as before to unload supplies onto the ice shelf, she explains. Mr. Fredericks, Mr. Ellsworth, and Mr. Claypool, you'll be taking one of our smaller boats to the shelf to find us a landing zone. Mr. Kata, once we have a camp up and running, those aeroplanes are your first priority. Mr. Ashevak, I expect those sledges to help move supplies from the landing to camp. As soon as we reach the ice shelf, there's going to be a lot of work to get done in a short time. I don't want you to have to wrangle 36 dogs on top of all that. Get them in order. Elia rolls his eyes and idly pets Anu, who sits diligently by his side. Yes, ma'am. Professor Dyer speaks up. I suspect the lack of ice melting and boring equipment means we aren't taking any mineral samples, he asks, rhetorically. Dr. Kensler shakes her head. No need, although if we happen to find a suitable piece, we might as well claim it. That said, our mission is solely to corroborate the findings you made with Danforth, to bring back more evidence of this ancient species, these elder things, as you dubbed them. A living specimen would be ideal, of course. Such a strange and alien beast trapped in ice throughout the ages. It would be like discovering a live, woolly mammoth, I imagine. He balks at that. A living specimen? You don't know these things killed several of Lake's men, right? How do you propose we capture one exactly? She blinks. You're the expert, William. You tell me. Damn it, Kensler, you've had 8 weeks! Dyer walks off, shaking his head and muttering angrily. I knew this was a bad idea. All right, you all have your assignments. We'll reach land within the hour. Be ready. Dr. Kensler just says, dismissing the meeting. Before she can go below deck, you approach and remark you aren't sure what you should be doing just yet. Oh, there'll be enough manual labor to go around, she replies with a hint of a smirk. Proceed to Ice and Death, Part 1. After 2 weeks and many hours of hard work, the expedition is ready to make its first foray into the cold, dead continent of Antarctica. Miss Takata, along with 2 other mechanics, have fully assembled 3 aeroplanes along the flat ice shelf. Perfect place for takeoffs and landings. Your team congregates by the aeroplanes, along with several days' worth of camping equipment. The plan is to fly 2 of the planes over the vast, jagged peaks, taking aerial photographs of the stone city mentioned in Dyer's account. That is, if such a thing really exists. If we can find a safe landing zone, we'll set up a temporary outpost. Dr. Kensler explains. Dyer, Danforth, Fredericks, and Claypool will stick around while the rest of us head back to base camp. We can use the sledges to ferry supplies to and from the camp. Otherwise, we'll simply scout out the area and head back to base camp. The team nods in agreement and begins boarding the plane. If Winifred Habermock is one of the investigators, otherwise proceed to intro free. Winifred Habermock is the aviatrix, so she would be flying the plane. Yeah, well, so Crosshair, exactly. That is a fan campaign based. Crosshair says this seems awfully similar to another trip that we took on Doomed, which is true. That was set in 1935. I think this is 1920 something. So this journey will predate Dexter and Jenny's trip. Also, fewer Nazis, I would assume. All right, intro 3. Guys, we got to get through this intro and start playing. Dyer, Danforth, Fredericks, and I. Oh. Buckle up, your pilot says. You climb into your seat and get ready for the flight. One at a time, the 2 planes take off from the ice shelf and soar into the opaque fog. The rough Antarctic winds and low visibility make for poor flying conditions, but nonetheless you venture through the beautiful and deceptive polar mirages over miles of icy wastes and barren snowdrifts. Dr. Kensler peers out a window as you pass a magnificent view of distant mountains like vibrant, enchanted castles floating above the clouds. They're beautiful, she remarks quietly. These are nothing, Dyer begins. Wait until you see... And then the storm hits. The winter winds are so sudden and fierce that they almost force you out of your seat. Both planes shunt to and fro in the horrid winds, and you hear several of the passengers shouting behind you. Was Fredericks the... Who's Fredericks? Oh, that's Cookie, right? What in the hell? Fredericks grunts. Oh, God. Was Claypool Australian? I think we have to head back, I think, was Claypool. Oh, God, I can't remember. These winds will force us down if we keep going. We're so close, Dr. Kensler growls bitterly. We don't have a choice, he yells back, but it's too late. The plane lurches toward the ground, and the pilot struggles in vain to regain control. All of the other passengers notice the dark shape in the sky at the same moment you do. It is a massive shadow, like a curtain drawn across the mountains, or perhaps the tattered wings of some antediluvian behemoth. It scowls at you with dreadful hollow eyes. Then it reaches out and... Proceed to intro 4. Yes, so first I'll agree with Cthulhu. I love when campaigns are like, if you're playing this or this person, do a thing. Love that. Oh my god, it's the Las Sombras. Oh, Cookie was the Australian. Shit. Thanks, Blanky Cat. You obviously watched the video. Did I give Avery like, oh, I gave him like a Texan accent, because his name was Avery. Nancy voice or bust? Well, Aragwen... Shit. Oh, boy. Is there actually Aragwen? Wild. Ashvac was Russian, I remember that. Okay. Intro 4. As you regain consciousness, intense pain sears through your blistering skin. Through your haze, you can barely hear the muffled shouting outside the burning husk of the aeroplane. Somebody grips your arm, pulls you from the wreckage, and hurls you onto the soft snow. More shouts erupt all around you. There's another! Quickly! Grab my hand! You rise to your feet with a world of effort. Miraculously, you are only bruised and winded. Most of the other team members are similarly unharmed, except... Here's where it gets wild. Gather the 9 story assets from the expedition team encounter set, shuffle them, choose one of them at random. The chosen character was killed in the plane crash. In the expedition team section of the campaign log, cross off their name. Record in the campaign log that blank's name was killed in the plane crash. Exactly, Crosshair. We're right in the thick of it. So, I'm shuffling this group, and I am drawing the person who I don't want to say I hope. Oh my god. I'm glad I didn't take that bet, Crosshair. Son of a gun. Oh, well, that is indeed the aeroplane mechanic. Well, Crosshair's psychic, y'all. Yep. Yeah, clearly. How am I going to do this? I'm just gonna write NA next to Takada Hiroko. Oh boy. So now we find the... Oh, sorry. Takada was killed in the plane crash. It's a good question, Blanky Cat. We do not question how Cthulhu and Crosshair know these things. If Takada Hiroko was killed in the plane crash, like some kind of cruel, morbid joke, Takada lies contorted and dead in a contraption of her own making. The team is silent for some time as the realization sets in. Elia looks at the sky in confusion. What the hell was that thing? That shadow? It was like nothing I have ever seen. Danforth responds with a quiet mutter, only barely audible above the howling wind. The wings, the eyes in darkness, a windowless solid with 5 dimensions. He looks up when he realizes the rest of the team is staring blankly at him. We have no time to mourn, Dr. Kensler declares. It'll be nightfall soon enough. Elia shakes his head in protest. Come on, Kensler. Takada is dead. Give us a half second, would you? No, she's right, Professor Daya chimes in. If we don't want to end up like her, we have to move. See you soon, Cthulhu. I hope I'm still alive when you get back. Well, I'm sorry, Takada. We hardly knew ye. That is really sad. Each investigator may choose one available member of the expedition team who is not crossed off to join them. Put the story asset for the chosen character into play in that investigator's play area. Now, they're all here. But this is, what am I trying to say here? These are the options that we have available to us. Now, you know, there are choices that we could make in terms of knowing what's coming in terms of the story. But I believe Monterey Jack would probably get real close to either the guide or the explorer right away. Optimal plays. Psh, exactly, Crosshair. I'm going to go with Roald Ellsworth, the Intrepid Explorer. I feel like, as I said in my introduction, in my prologue as well, as an archaeologist who is used to sort of blazing a trail, impetuously, perhaps. Jack is very used to setting off on his own, but having any sort of backup in that would be, he knows the value of scouting ahead. So let's take rolled, and we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I agree with that, Crosshair. You're stranded, you're lost, He's got 5 supplies. So rolled, the Intrepid Explorer allows you to free trigger during a turn, spend a supply, and exhaust him to choose a treachery attached to a location, treat the treachery's text box as if it was blank. So he can kind of look out over any sort of hazards and be like, "Ooh, we should go around." Scenario setup, yada, 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 yada. We begin at the crash site. Oh, God. I am not reading the rest of this, but we're now ready to begin. I always try to skip part of the intro because, like, when you're playing with hard copies, you have to be like, set this card aside. Oh, God. Well, it is cute, Crosshair. Agenda 1A, cold welcome. This isn't exactly how you imagined your first foray into the Antarctic wilds. The stinging cold and lashing frozen winds will only get worse over time. Forced. After a location is entered by an investigator for the first time, put into play each set-aside location connected to that location. Use the map in the campaign guide for reference. Act 1A, campsite. Oh, I should plonk that there before I forget. Search for a campsite. You're going to have to find a way back to camp, and soon, or you'll have to make do camping in the wilds. Action. If each investigator is at the same location, and that location has no clues on it, resign. You set up camp, each investigator resigns. Objective. Find somewhere safe to set up camp. If each undefeated investigator has resigned, advanced. The higher the shelter value of the location they resigned at, the better. Jack, much like everyone there, I mean, he doesn't have the same kind of fancy education. I mean, he is an archaeologist, but I imagine that's mostly by experience rather than by schooling. He and everyone else is on the same page. They're going to have to spread out, and they're going to have to stay in contact via radio as best they can, and find the best shelter as soon as possible. They don't want to be out exposed when night sets in. We're starting here at the crash site, which is connected to 3 places: the frozen shores, the precarious ice sheet, and the treacherous path. Oh, great. They've all got negative... They've all got sweet, sweet negative adjectives attached to them. Crash site. It was risky business sailing over the Antarctic in a single aeroplane without any line of bases. All right. We know where we're starting. In media res. We've got rolled. I say we draw our opening hand. Let's do it, everybody. Let's get doomed. Looking here, I see a bunch of stuff and only one asset. I'm going to keep the asset, perhaps against my better judgment, because I know that there are weaknesses abound in this deck. Okay, it is what it is. Okay, this is what we're starting with. Crash site. 2 shroud, 0 clues, shelter 0, so we can't stay here. I mean, we can, but it probably isn't a good idea. At least it's not perilous path, frozen fjord, and treacherous tundra. Boo. Action. Test intellect or agility 3 to scavenge from the wreckage. If you succeed, in the supplies recovered section of the campaign log, record spare parts. Max 1 per campaign. Okay. So we can find spare parts here. I should talk a little bit about Monterey, or Jack as he's known. So Monterey Jack has 8 health and 6 sanity. I'm starting with 1 physical and 1 mental trauma because of the crash and because of his previous experiences. Monterey has 1 willpower, 4 intellect, 2 combat, and 5 agility. He's very good at some things, very bad at other things. As I mentioned, he starts with mostly rogue cards in his deck because of his prior experience, but he upgrades into seeker cards, representing his transition to someone who is more interested in finding the truth. Monterey is a wayfarer. He has the following reaction. At the end of your turn, if you started this round 1 location away from your current location, either gain a resource or draw a card. Exactly, Crosshair. And then if you started this round 2 or more locations away, do both instead. Elder Sign, +1. If you started this round 1 or more locations away from your current location, gain a resource or draw a card. Oh, goodbye, Aragwen! I'm going to type it out as well. I have to admit, despite the fact that Aragwen was like, there's someone in this airport who's snoring, I was like, Aragwen's at an airport? That's weird. Oh well. Didn't even question it. Here, I'll give you one of these as well, Aragwen. Very safe travels. She can't hear me. I don't know why I'm doing this. Someone, very safe travels. Yeah, thank you, Crosshair. Okay, good. So, Jack likes to move. He likes to be on the move. At the end of your turn, if you started this round 1 or more locations away from your current location, you get stuff. So you want to be moving. That's the game plan. Now, I'm not going to trigger that every turn, but here we go. Exactly, Crosshair. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that mustache. Okay. Well, I think we want to scavenge some supplies and then get the heck out of here. The frozen shores feel like a bad place to take shelter. The precarious ice sheet also feels like a bad place to take shelter. The treacherous path probably leads somewhere. So maybe that's the best place to take shelter. I don't know. But I think we should go for this. So the crash site says, test intellect or agility 3 to scavenge from the wreckage. I'm going to do that. Well, that's the hope, Flower, so I'm really hoping I can make that happen. I'm going to start. Jack wants to get the hell out of here ASAP. Oh, here, I want to do this first. Boop. Look at this. So cool. This is not a new feature, by the way. Well, it is, but it's specifically for this campaign. The mod has the ability to update connections between locations. Exactly, Crosshair. So you're going downhill, I guess? Okay. I think he's going to want to get to the path that leads up. Up means more exposed, but it also means potentially caves. That's my plan, and that's what I'm going to try to do. However, before he leaves, he's going to see if there's anything in the wreckage that he can recover other than maybe Takata's corpse. So let's do this. I'm going to test 5 agility on 3, and I'm going to commit this manual dexterity to be 7 on 3. Drawing a card if I succeed. Let's do it. Cultist, I don't even know what these are. -2. And then it says something very specific that I will talk about when it comes up. Ooh, there's the cultist. Crosshair, you're right. Let's draw a card from a successful manual dexterity, and in the supplies recovered, record spare parts. I'm going to do that. Where are you here? Locations revealed, spare parts. So Jack manages to pull a few bits and bobs out of the crash site of the aeroplane, but he's definitely on the move already. There isn't much left behind that they don't already have loaded onto the sledges. So we're going to move up and out to the treacherous path. Seems right. In order to recover the Archaean slate vein in which he had found the odd markings, he would have to make a long sledge trip from these foothills to the steep slopes of the gigantic mountains themselves. Treacherous Path is a mountains location, 2 shroud, 1 clue, with shelter 1. So it's getting better. After you reveal 1 or more frost tokens during a skill test at Treacherous Path, take a damage or a horror for each frost token revealed. I should pause here. This campaign introduces some new stuff, and I should talk about it because it's not particularly useful to just be like, what are these things? So, there's new stuff in this campaign. I'll just quickly go through it. Checkpoints. This just means that some of the scenarios are broken up into parts. You can either play them straight through, or you can take a break between each one. We're going to take a break between each one because they're scenario-long things. Frost tokens. The frost token is only for the edge of the earth. There's 1 frost token in the bag right now. The first frost token has the following effect. -1, reveal another token. So they're like mini curses. However, if another frost token is revealed from the chaos bag during the same test, immediately end the reveal chaos token step and resolve the test as an automatic failure. What does this mean? 1 frost token says -1, take another token. 2 or more frost tokens means auto fail out. Which honestly is devastating. I wish there were fewer. I wish that wasn't a thing. Exactly, Crosshair. No more than 8 frost tokens can be in the chaos bag and or sealed at any time. It doesn't do anything on its own. Once it goes into the bag, it stays in there forever. Exactly, Crosshair. Partners. And then there's something called the Tekalili deck, which again, I think we'll see what that is when we get... we'll see what that is when we get there. Okay. Treacherous Path. After you reveal 1 or more frost tokens during a skill test at Treacherous Path, take a damage or horror for each frost token revealed. 2 Shroud and a clue. I'm going to see if I can maybe just pick up this clue real quick, because it feels nice to try. Yeah, I'm keeping my resources, because I'm worried about an offer you can't refuse. I have 4 intellect. Let's just take the test, 4 to 2. You said -2 on this one, right, Crosshair? I'll take it. Take the clue. Oh, and of course I have to update the connections. Treacherous Path is... uncharted locations. We're looking for the equals sign. Oh, it just came early. That's nice. Don't look. Don't look. We're looking for the equals sign. Boop. Yeah, okay. Let me update the connections again, and it goes there. So the treacherous path leads further up into the mountains to the rocky crags. As an additional cost for you to enter this location, you must spend 1 clue as a group. Rising perpendicularly to a height of 200 feet, like the rocky cliffs of Quebec, and marking the end of southward navigation. So we could go that way. We could also venture off elsewhere. We're looking for the highest shelter value. Jack's trying to find shelter here, but so far so good. They recovered some spare parts, he moved on to the path, and while at the path, he found a way up further into the craggy mountains beyond. But that's the end of my turn. At the end of my turn, I was 1 location away from my current location, so I can gain a resource. Yeah, Crosshair, I didn't think they were notorious in, like, American writing circles from the 1800s, but Quebec City, the, like, administrative capital of Quebec, the province, is built cliffside. It's built into, or rather on top of, a sheer cliff face in the St. Lawrence. So if you wanted to attack it, you had to approach by land, which the British did and conquered it anyway. So, you know, it's not always perfect. Okay, no enemies on the board. We upkeep. Hiking boots! Yes, please. I think that's going to be useful to get down ASAP. Our first mythos phase. We go to 1 doom out of 4. Jack is looking up the path into the mountains beyond. Is it likely that they will... Alrighty then. Is it likely that Jack will find shelter up this way? We'll have to see as we draw our first encounter card. Aperophobia. The fear of the sky, maybe? Revelation test. Oh no. Test willpower X. X is your location's shelter value. If you fail, you must decide. Take a horror for each point you fail by. Place 2 clues on your location. Place 2 of your clues, sorry, or add a frost token to the bag. Well, so our shelter is 1, and my willpower is 1. Fear of infinity. Wowie Maui. That is wild. I think venturing up this rock face, or this path rather, and seeing the mountains stretched out beyond for what seems like forever, Jack is suddenly caught in the sensation of being lost. He's been lost before, but somehow being lost in the jungles of like Central Africa don't frighten him. If he can't find his way back, he can always camp for the night. Here, there is no way out. They need to take shelter before going back to camp, and they need to find their way off this rock. I'm just going to test 1-to-1. There's no point in trying to succeed, right? Oh, it's a frost token. So -1. I'm revealing one or more, so I have to take a damage or a horror. I'll take a damage, and I'm also going to fail, so I'm going to be taking a 0. Well, okay. So I failed by 1. I'll also take a horror. So basically, as the winds gust down the path, Jack shivers internally and externally, taking a damage and a horror. Right, of course. It's background to us. We want to be moving, as always. Do we spend our clue and go up into the crags? Or do we head to the shores? What do I want to get down here? I want to get the hiking boots down, right? Hiking boots are good. Hiking boots are... Well, I mean, everyone knows what hiking boots are. You get +1 agility. Reaction: after the last clue is discovered from your location, exhaust hiking boots move to a connecting location with at least 1 clue, or a connecting unrevealed location. Well, it is still 1 location away. I mean, you could count it as 2, but I think it counts as 1 here. Let's see. I'm definitely putting on the boots. That's the first thing. I think Jack's lacing up his hiking boots, to be sure. Which gives me +1 agility, which I'll take it. And then we're going to move and hopefully get some investigating done. Where do we want to go, the shores or the ice sheet? I feel like the shores won't have any good options, but at least let's go and find out, right? So second action is move down to the frozen shores. They're now stretched off to the east, the low white line of the Great Ice Barrier. The sun never quite sets over the horizon past the icy shoreline, painting the sky a myriad tapestry of beautiful colors. Shelter 2, I think we can do better. It's attached to Red Square, which is this broad snowdrifts. There's penguins on it. I know, Flower. Well, he was wearing his, like, shittier boots. I feel like his big winter boots, but now he's like, you know what? F frostbite. I'm going hiking. On the lofty ice barrier in the background, myriads of grotesque penguins squawked and flapped their fins. So broad snowdrifts also requires a clue to enter. I mean, there's penguins there, right? But the snowdrifts aren't going to have any shelter. Anyway, let's have a look. Frozen Shores is a 2 shroud, 1 clue location. It says it gets +2 shroud if an encounter card is attached to it, which it's not. I think Jack is going to investigate here at the Frozen Shores. If he does, he can use his hiking boots to move on. And I'm definitely going to do that. So we're going to investigate 4-2. I'm keeping my resources nice and high. 4-2. Score. -1, crosshair. Maybe you said +1. I can't remember. We'll get the clue. And exhaust hiking boots to move to a connecting unrevealed location. I'm going to go into the snowdrifts, which I need to spend a clue to do. This way I'm now 2 locations away from where I started. Psych! 1 out of 9. Excellent, Roger Twy. I think the penguins are okay. Like, I think they're cool, you know, but we gotta be careful. Oh, it's got shelter 4. It's quite nice down here. Let's put out the connections first, hey? Star, squiggle, and hourglass. There's the squiggle. I'm just gonna take them out before I, like, look at them. Star. What was it? Star, squiggle, and hourglass, right? Ooh. I haven't, Ellie Spot. That honestly sounds awful. Oh god, that sounds awful. Let's go have a look at the map, shall we? Sweet Jesus. So this is their suggestion, okay. Penguins always start out kind of nice. Do they, though? Okay, this is how they suggested we set it up. Boop! Whoa! No, not like that, you fools. There we go. I didn't want them to connect back to things I haven't found yet. Broad Snowdrifts is an uncharted location with 4 shelter. Still getting better. I think we can still do better because this is still an exposed location. Penguin teeth. They're like little, right, Ellie Spot? They must be little. Like little baby teeth. I mean, I know they eat fish and stuff, so they must be able to, they must have canines or whatever. Reaction. When you successfully investigate broad snowdrifts, add a frost token to the chaos bag, discover 3 additional clues. We will not be doing that. 1 shroud, 2 clues, but my turn has come to an end. However, I started my turn 2 or more locations away from where I am now, so I will draw a card and gain a resource. Double upkeep, baby. We do the same in upkeep. Love that. And I can take a Faustian bargain to pay for my offer I can't refuse. Which, you know, feels quite nice, honestly. Okay. Monterey's ventured sort of further, it said east on the description, so we'll call it east, even though I'm now all confused with my north, south, east, west. But he ventured past the shores down to these snowdrifts where many honking, hacking penguins are playing, squawking in the snow. Exactly, Crosshair. You want to make a deal with the devil to pay for that deal? With the devil? Different devils, right? Nope. Takes out multiple loans at the same time. Oh, excellent! Ellie Spot. Good lord. Okay. Well, now I have to check. Oh, God. I'm terrified, Ellie Spot. Here it comes. Oh, boy. Maybe they're cute. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, God. Why? Ellie Spot, no! Actually, I'm really thrilled. Thank you. I mean, horrible. No wonder they're going to be enemies in this campaign. I mean, probably. Maybe they'll be friends. Oh my gosh. Okay. Jack has successfully ventured further. From the snowdrifts, he can see further on some snow graves. Or some... Yeah. It's true, Ellie Spot. Actually, that's a good point, Ellie Spot. I've never known you to lie. Put that in your noggin. Smoke it. You don't have to smoke that thought. Very good, Flower. Further on past the snowdrifts, Jack can see some irregular mounds, which he takes to maybe be further snowdrifts until he realizes they're far too constructed. They seem to be shaped in a certain way. Off to the other side, perhaps some buildings or tents? And then in the other direction, a cave. Ooh. Oh, shoot, I never... I haven't, actually. Now that you mention it... Oh, no, Ellie Spot's gonna do 2 truths and a lie, and I'm not gonna know. It's gonna get very spooky. Excuse me. Oh, you haven't contemplated formaldehyding a penguin. Horror mouth. It's only when you enter things that they connect, right? After a location is entered by an investigator for the first time. Okay. Yeah, Crosshair. I imagine Orangey is not too far away right now, which is... Okay, so what's Jack done so far? Spare parts. He raided the crash site, ventured up to a path, saw mountains beyond, ran back through the shores, found some penguins. This is where we're at. We upkept, we go to 2 out of 4 doom, and our encounter card here at the Snowdrifts is the worst one, Polar Mirage. Awesome, awesome art on Polar Mirage. Revelation, attached to the nearest location with at least 1 clue, and without a copy of Polar Mirage attached. Okay. So that's right here. Yeah. Okay, that sounds good, Ellie-Spot. Ellie-Spot, how are you going to be able to hear if we're whispering quietly? Oh, okay, tiny letters, got it, okay. Let's keep it really small. Polar Mirage. Attached to the nearest location with at least one clue, without a copy of Polar Mirage attached, forced. After you discover or take control of one or more clues at attached location, discard each non-weakness card in your hand. Discard Polar Mirage. Polar Mirage. This is as Jack looks out towards the graves and then some tents and then a cavern. There is a flash, a brilliant flash of light above him. Aurora Borealis, he thinks, until he looks up. In the sky, glittering stars coalesce into the shape of a city in the sky. Oh, that's cute, Crosshair. Oh, nerdy. You wish I would brilliantly flash you. Hi, nerdy filmmaker. Welcome to Doomed. Wonderful to have you with us. We've got our good friend, the archaeologist, Monterey Jack here. Just exploring, just doing his thing, trying to survive the plane crash that he was just in. I think Blanky, I think we're going to need Rolled to help with Polar Mirage here. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. Rolled allows me to ignore a treachery as if it were blank until the end of the turn. And then I can move on from Broad Snowdrifts and never come back. That's the plan. Yeah, I think that's the idea. The brilliant cityscape in the sky above him draws his eye and he gapes, not seeing as the penguins venture ever closer. We go back to the investigation phase. So I'm thinking my best bet here is to try to get both of these clues and just move on. And then Polar Mirage doesn't do anything, which is good. So I'm thinking, I mean, ideally I'd drop Milan on the table as well, but I'm not going to do that right now. Because that offer you can't refuse. It's still around somewhere. Jeez, that was scary. Okay, sorry. There was just like a clong in the music. All right. Rolled. Exhaust Rolled Ellsworth. Spend a supply. Choose a treachery attached to any location. Treat it as if it were blank. Rolled shakes Jack and warns him just in time as some penguins kind of scoop by him and almost kind of knock him down a snowdrift. Nothing too serious, but he draws his attention back towards the rest of the world around him. We're going to need clue. Oh, I should mention, Snow Graves requires 2 clues to enter. Remnants of Lake's Camp requires 4 clues to enter. Crystalline Cavern also recovers. Sounds good, Crosshair. Also requires 4 clues to enter. Yeah. So, Rolled has helped Jack avoid kind of being distracted by the Mirage for now. So let's try to get both of these clues off this location. I have 4 intellect, so I'm just going to investigate 4 to 1. That's a skull, but I don't think Crosshair was worried about that. Half the shelter value of your location rounded up. Half of 4 is 2, minus 2. Still a success. I should mention, for those who don't know the game particularly well, the kind of key mechanic, there's a lot going on. It's a card game. So obviously a lot of the cards that you play have like ongoing effects. Can you even die quickly? Great question, Ellie-Spot. Yes. Yes, you can. What was I going to say? Yes, the key kind of, there's a lot of different effects that the cards you play have. Some of them are one-time things. Some of them stay in play. Some of them can only be used to boost you briefly. But the key kind of mechanical concept in the game is you take tests. You test one of your 4 stats against a certain static value. Then you draw a token from the Chaos Bag. Most of the Chaos Bag tokens have minus on them. You adjust your skill value. If you tie or are higher, you win, and you succeed at that test. I had 4 intellect against the Shroud of 1 of this location, and I drew something that was minus 2. So I succeed. And I get a clue. That's the key kind of concept here. Let's do it again. Jack is continuing to try to find paths through the snowdrifts, and he's searching desperately for any sort of... I think we're out of music, yes. He's searching desperately for any sort of shelter that they can take here. Perhaps they can pitch their tents, as it were, in a location, in a part of the snowdrifts that is sheltered. That's a frost token. So -1, draw another token. -4. Fail. Failed. That's okay. No bad effects from just failing. But let's try again. Last action, we're going to investigate 4-1. Cultist, -2. There's an if you fail, but I didn't fail, so that's okay. We get the last clue, and we use the hiking boots to get the hell out of here. I kind of want to... I'm going to move down, I think, to Snowgraves. Broad Snowdrifts, flower. Pliskins! Hello! I am alive! No thanks to Ellie Spot's horrible photos! I'm just kidding. Ellie Spot, you know we love you in this household. All of us and our cats. Happy Pliskins, hello! Welcome to Doomed. Wonderful to have you here in a new year. Same old Doomed. No, new campaign. Our intrepid archaeologist, Jack, is venturing out from the site of a plane crash in Antarctica to find shelter. Oh, welcome back, Crosshair. Glad to hear it. Okay, so we're going to use our hiking boots to move on. Oh, right, sorry, I was telling Flower of August. The snowdrifts allow you to get more clues all at once by adding a frost token. I don't want to do that. And the Polar Mirage is currently blank because Ellsworth helped us. I'm going to use the boots to move down. I have to spend 2 clues to move to the Snowgraves. It surely looks like madness to find 6 imperfect monstrosities carefully buried upright in 9-foot snow graves under 5-pointed mounds. Okay. Understood, Flower. Shelter 5, getting better, but it's still not a cave. Like, it's not an inside location. 3 shroud, 2 clues. Reaction. After you discover the last clue from Snowgraves, shuffle the top 3 cards of the Tekalili deck into your deck without looking at them. In the supplies recovered section of the campaign log, record green soapstone. Now, this would be a good time to mention what that means. For anyone who's familiar with H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness, yeah, there is a horrible cry that they hear in Antarctica many times, which is Tekalili. Now, I assume that there's, horrible racist overtones to the sound of the phrase, but as near as I can tell, the actual phrase itself is just a nonsensical kind of sound, meant to evoke like a horrible kind of like war cry or something. It is its own individual set of weaknesses, which get shuffled into your deck. You don't know what they do. When you draw them, instead of drawing a nice card, you draw a weakness. It always sucks. So Crosshair, just so you understand, this campaign adds additional weaknesses all the time that kind of rotate in and out of your deck. Bad news. However, Tekalili weaknesses, when they are resolved, they leave your deck. So they kind of rotate in and out. It's like this sense of the wilds of Antarctica kind of preying on your mind temporarily. But that's the end of my turn. We ended one location away from where I started, so I will gain a resource. We go to upkeep, where we draw a card and gain a resource. Backstab. We're now at 8 cards in hand. Getting a bit spooky, but we gotta do something. Now would be a good time to play this professor of entomology, Dr. Milan Christopher. But first, we have to go to 3... Take that volume down slightly. We go to 3 out of 4 Doom. We're still looking for a good sheltered place. These snowgraves don't seem like a good place. As we draw our next encounter card. Whiteout. Attached to your location. Each investigator at attached location gets -1 will, -1 book, -1 fist, -1 agility. Forced. At the end of the round, discard whiteout. So for 1 round, anyone here, their stats are a sufferin', so I will do that. As Jack enters this particular kind of shape, these mounds of what he assumes are snow with strange carvings draw his eye. That same sigil, the one on the locket he found, the one carved into his murdered father's forehead, appears on several of the snow mounds around him. He begins to investigate, and in that moment, there is only the sound of a small cry behind him before the snow is on them. Much like in the desert, you can have sandstorms come at you quite quickly. In Antarctica, you can have these snowstorms come at you quite quickly. And it is known in many parts of the world as a whiteout. You cannot see anything in front of you except the white of driving, blowing snow. Now, it doesn't put me in immediate danger. This might just be a good time to, like, take a little bit of time to set up, maybe? So yeah, I think we're gonna do 2 things. I'm gonna gain 5 resources and then spend 4 resources, so I'm gonna net 1 and add 2 curses to the bag. And then I also get Dr. Milan Christopher out. So in the whiteout, Jack kind of tries to grope his way back towards the sled dogs and the sled and finds himself face to face with one of the members of the expedition, Dr. Milan Christopher, the professor of entomology from Miskatonic University. The rather portly man tries to grin at him from beneath layers and layers of, woolen clothes and caps and so on, but his smile betrays his fear. And the two kind of huddle together as they wait out the snowstorm. That was 2 actions. I bought myself +1 intellect and a bunch of resources, and now I have 4 intellect? Yes. Mutated. Yes, so I'll explain that, because that's kind of fun. Dr. Milan Christopher gives you +1 intellect and reaction after you successfully investigate, exhaust Dr. Milan Christopher to gain a resource. So this is for anyone's edification who's interested. I think Crosshair, you'll be particularly interested. The Arkham Horror the LCG isn't competitive, so it doesn't need to maintain a ban list, right? Even though some cards are like OP and some are underpowered and whatever. The developers of the game maintain a completely optional taboo list, a list of changes to cards that attempt to add some balance to the game. It's not an actual errata to the card. They printed it. That's how it is. But they're like, look, if you want a slightly more balanced or new experience, try these list of taboos. Some cards have been chained, so they cost additional XP because they're too good. Some cards have been restricted, banned, even though, again, it's not a competitive scene, so it doesn't actually need to be banned. And some have been mutated. Like this awful, oh my god, Doctor, you're mutating before my very eyes. I love the art on this too, by the way. He's like, this book says this should be an eye, but it's still a tentacle. Dr. Milan Christopher is from the core set, and he used to say, reaction, after you successfully investigate, gain a resource. This means, drop him on turn 1, investigate, 2 resources. Next turn, investigate, 3 resources. Forever. Some would argue too good. Some would argue far too good. There you go. However, yeah, now he says exhaust him to gain a resource. Anyway, just a fun fact for you there, Crosshair. A reprint, as it were, exactly. Although, again, not actually reprinted, just like a, if you want to play with it, you can. I don't usually play Taboo, because I'm not great at the game, so I don't need to, shoot myself in the foot. Monterey Jack huddles together with Dr. Milan Christopher as they try to avoid the snow stinging in their eyes. Monterey, Jack rather, is brought back to some of the conversations he had in Arkham, taking out loans, promising favors in return for support for this expedition. And he realizes if he returns without proof or the truth of what happened to his father, he's going to return to some very angry people. I'm going to try investigating here, I think. It's 3 shroud. I have 4 intellect. It's not the worst. I don't really want to commit. I'll commit slip away to be 5 to 3. Sure, -1. Okay, cool. So I'll get a clue. And I will exhaust Dr. Milan Christopher to gain a resource. Not bad. Now we are starting to look for that offer you can't refuse. Upkeep draws us a card and gains us a resource. I did not start more than 1 place away. The round ends. The whiteout calms. And Jack starts to look around. He can see that Dr. Milan has already started to kind of map out the mounds around him, and he realizes they're spaced regularly. Perhaps this is some sort of ritual site. Or a graveyard, Dr. Milan suggests, pointing to the strange peaks on each of the mounds, and noting how they correspond to the peaks on the heads of the creatures that Dyer has reported. Mythos takes us to 4 out of 4 doom, and we advance to Agenda 1B, Under the Ice. Hold on, come see this! One of the other team members shouts as you trudge ahead through the snow. You turn back and examine what they've found. A second set of tracks in the snow, but smaller, misshapen, almost impossibly so. What in the hell could have made these tracks? One of your party asks. You stand, dumbfounded. Very little wildlife exists out here in the frozen wastes. And these tracks match nothing you've ever seen before, nothing you can even imagine. I'm gonna turn that down slightly. You don't have to question what could make such tracks for long. Oh, thank you. You don't have to question what could make such tracks for long. A shape emerges from the erupting snow, twisted and deformed, like a splotch of ink spilled upon the canvas of reality. It makes a strange, almost familiar cry that is eaten by the howling wind. Lee! Lee! And then with terrifying speed, it rushes toward you. Spawn is set aside, skittering nonsense at the lead investigator's location. Shuffle the remainder of the set-aside skittering nonsense enemies and the set-aside creatures in the ice encounter set into the encounter deck. Well, Nikes. I'm not even going to look at them. I'm just going to throw them in there. Not with the discard pile. An Eidolon monster, the skittering nonsense, which is like a splotch of ink upon the canvas of reality, is a 2/2/4 hunter. When you defeat skittering nonsense, shuffle the top card of the Tekalili deck into your deck without looking at it. If you can't, it attacks you. We have our stats back because the whiteout is done. As the whiteout clears, and as Jack kind of is examining these strange small markings moving kind of forward and away. I'm just going to make a quick note here. There we go. The creature rushes him with terrifying speed, despite having no sort of sense of any actual physiology. He's no biologist. Dr. Milan is, and the two of them, along with the rest of the party, step back in fear. Is that it for Agenda? Yeah. Agenda 2A, Into the White. Something dwells beneath the ice. Something you've never seen or heard of before, not even in William Dyer's horrifying report. Something unreal. It's got the same forced effect you add at locations as you explore. 7 Doom. We also draw our encounter card. Ice Shaft. 1 false step. Ice Shaft is a hazard. Test agility 3 For each frost token revealed during this test, take a damage. If you fail, take 2 damage. Well, I don't want to fail. So I think I'm going to... As the skittering nonsense, as this creature, this thing, rushes towards the party, Jack takes one horrifying step backwards, realizing that the space behind him is nothing but empty air. The snow hides what is in fact a large hole. There's not ice beneath them, not even ground, but simply a shaft deep into the earth. And thankfully he is going to avoid falling down into it, or hopefully, and he's going to try to trick the nonsense into heading that way. Let's deal with this ice shaft. I have to test agility 3. I have 6 agility. I'm going to put in watch this. I'm spending 3 resources. And I'm hoping to succeed by 1 or more to gain twice that many resources. Jack, noticing that this hole in the earth exists behind him, swings around and is going to try to draw the creature's attention back into the hole. So we're testing 7 to 3. Perfect. Huge success. So we gained 6 resources. I spent 3, I gained 6. Ice shaft, I succeeded. And we're back around to us. Lots of money. Nothing to spend it on. Well, I'm watching a little bit of living ink over here get his dinner. Look at that, what a cutie. Good job, Max. You an Eldritch Horror, Max? No, he's not. Jack swings around and narrowly avoids plummeting to his doom, catching Milan as he also stumbles towards the pit. He quickly scuffs out a mark to indicate the edge of the shaft as the creature rushes towards him. He's going to attempt to essentially divert the creature's attention so that it tumbles down the hole. Exactly, Ellie Spot. So cute. What I want to do is get this clue, get out of here, and evade the nonsense and just run. That's what I want to do. And I think I can do all that pretty quick. With breaking and entering. Breaking and entering. If you're careful, it's just entering. Investigate. Add your agility to your skill value for this investigation. If you succeed by 2 or more, you may automatically evade an enemy at this location. This action does not provoke attacks of opportunity. We're going to spend 2 resources. We're going to go for it. Jack is attempting to... basically, he's going to attempt this absolutely ridiculous move where he's going to keep the creature's attention, try to force it to jump or leap at him, throw it down the shaft, and rush out from this place, taking with him some sort of impression of the graves themselves. So, I'm investigating. Doesn't provoke an attack of opportunity. I have 5 intellect, and I'm adding 6 agility, so I'm 11 to 3. That is a pretty big success. So I get a clue. I evade the nonsense. The creature does indeed leap at him, but Jack's already gone, ducking under and out towards the sledges as the creature disappears down into the earth. After you discover the last clue from Snowgraves, shuffle the top 3 cards of the Tekalili deck into your deck without looking at them. Oh, where did they go? Oh my god. Where are the Tekalili weaknesses? Oh, they're over here. I don't know why they're over here. They should be over here. The top 3, huh? 1, 2, 3. Shuffled. As the creature falls down into the earth, he can hear its shout echoing up towards him, a cry that screeches and sears into his memory. Record green soapstone in the supplies recovered. Jack manages to snag a small artifact from this graveyard. Exactly, crosshair. And I also discovered the last clue for my location, so let's... Oh, I can't use the hiking boots. I have to move to a connecting location with at least one clue, or a connecting unrevealed location, but I don't have any. It's too bad. But I'll move anyway. Second action, move. Third action, let's keep going, right? I don't have 4 clues yet, so I can't venture into the cavern, which looks awesome, or the camp, which also looks awesome. I'm probably going to put it to a vote in the chat at some point, whether we should go to the Remnants of Lakes Camp or the Crystalline Cavern. But for now, I'll move back to the Frozen Shores. It's the end of my turn. I started 2 or more locations away from my location, so I draw a card and gain a resource. And then in upkeep, the Skittering Nonsense readies, and I draw a card and gain a resource. It's his trusty bullwhip, which I'll put over here. Jack has managed to dash away with the rest of the party. The sledge dogs rushing back towards the Frozen Shores with incredible speed. We need more clues, and I think I'm going to find them here at the ice sheet. We go to 1 out of 7 Doom, and we draw an encounter card. Kindred Mist. Ooh. Attached to the nearest location without a copy of Kindred Mist attached. When 1 or more cards from the Tekelili deck would be shuffled into your deck, draw them instead, placing them at the bottom of your deck instead of the bottom of the Tekelili deck. Discard Kindred Mist at the end of this round. That's fine. I'm going to be leaving this place. Creeping in from the shore, a dark mist that seems to be calling Jack's name, but he is not pausing to have... He is not having any of that nonsense. Let's move on, baby. Moving on. First action. We're rushing up to this precarious ice sheet. The ice sheet was very thin, with dark ground here and there visible. Exactly, crosshair. I think it's a huge inspiration, especially the idea of like having a party of people that you get to know and the isolation that comes from that. I'm adding another location, which is the teardrop location. I'm not trying to look at these if I can. Yeah, I'm trying not to look at them. The Icy Wastes, I remember, goes here. Action. Or, sorry, 4 Shroud. 1 clue. Shelter 2 here at the ice sheet. I think, interestingly enough, Jack was maybe thinking the snow graves could make a good shelter. 5 shelter seems good. But with the arrival of this creature and the shaft through the ground here, he decided, like, you know what? I don't think we need to stay here. And he dashed off in search of something a bit more suitable. Yeah, exactly. No, we gotta check for bears. Precarious Ice Sheet is 4 Shroud and 1 clue with Shelter 2. Reaction: when you draw a Hazard Treachery while at Precarious Ice Sheet, add a Frost token to the Chaos bag to cancel that card's effects and discard it. I can choose to add pain later in exchange for less pain now. That never backfires. We need to get this clue. Or we need to get this clue. I want to get this clue. He looks poorly dressed. I don't disagree, Nerdy. Especially because he seems to be wearing hiking boots, which I, like, established earlier. It's like he had his winter boots on, and then he was like, nah, F it. I need my sweet old hiking boots. They get me places faster. I imagine he's got like a park. He probably is dressed a bit more like this guy. Rolled seems a bit better dressed for the weather. All right, I want this clue. 4 Shroud. I have 5 intellect. That's pretty good. There must be a way we can kind of boost that higher. No, I don't have any way of boosting that higher right now. That's okay. Let's just go for it. Second action, we're going to investigate 5 to 4. Okay, a curse. Yeah, sure. While here at the Precarious Ice Sheet, Jack is kind of searching over the side and watching as small bits of the ice fall off into the ocean. And then he spies it a little further off. Icy wastes. Perhaps those will lead on to some ability to... perhaps those will lead on to a better tomorrow. A curse means we have to draw another token. -2. Big fail, but we remove a curse from the bag. Last action. I don't really need this clue, but I kind of want it. I'm going to go again. That's a good one. That's a success. I'll gain a resource with Milan, and I will get this clue. And then, because I got the last clue at my location, hiking boots will take me into the icy wastes where I spend a clue to get there. Icy wastes has shelter 4, 2 shroud and 2 clues. Treat the modifier of the first frost token revealed each test at icy wastes as -3 instead of -1. Well, obviously the frost is worse out here. There's less cover. You could take cover, but as you're moving through, it's a little scarier. I have to add some new locations. The star and the clover? The clover goes up here. The star... That's not a star. Oh, the star's in play. It's the moon. Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. That's something about that little app that... Okay, anyway. From these icy wastes, Jack can see further on another path leading back to a campsite. Perhaps they will find some old supplies there, something that they can actually... Well, something they can actually use. Further to the north as well, another campsite. Perhaps, actually, I think this is even the camp that they made originally, which is great. Barrier camp? Yeah, probably. Our camp on the frozen shore below the volcano's slope was only a provisional one. That seems like a good place to take shelter. And the icebreaker landing. This is, it looks to me like an old icebreaker ship that has been abandoned. Now, obviously, Jack's looking at that hungrily, thinking there might be something on board worth taking back to Arkham to sell. Do we need a break? No, I'm good. That was my last action, because I used hiking boots to move in. I started 2 or more locations away, so I'm going to choose to draw a card and gain a resource. Enemies. The skittering nonsense hunts into the snowdrifts. Kindred Mist goes away at the end of the upkeep phase, where I draw a card and gain a resource. 8 in hand, and a whopping 18 resources. More than enough to pay for an offer that I can't refuse if I have to. As we go to the mythos phase, 2 out of 7 doom. Feels like a lot. This exploration is going okay. We're just looking to, like, find somewhere to settle down. Maybe I don't disagree with the crosshair. I feel like the icebreaker is not a bad place to go. An abandoned ship in the Antarctic sounds like a bad place to go if you're genre savvy, but Flower of August, you're like me, you're like crosshair. Seems like a good place to go if it was me. Saren, hello! Welcome to Doomed. Wonderful to have you with us. It's great to see you here. Excuse me. New year on Doomed. That's not good. I need my voice for tomorrow. Why do I need my voice for tomorrow, you might be asking yourselves? Because tomorrow, at 5 o'clock Eastern on RPG Clinic, we're going to be playing the first of 2 sessions of Gothic Society, which is a Gothic horror, Gothic mod for Good Society, which will be not ST'd so much as facilitated by Liz, featuring myself, John, and Jess Files. Very excited. Thank you, Saren. It's new. Not my hair, the haircut. Okay. I'll catch you up really quick, Saren. We are following the adventures of one Monterey Jack, the archaeologist. He is gone to Antarctica with an expedition to... He's there for personal reasons, try to figure out what killed his father. But he's also hoping to, take any loot home that he can. Sounds good, Crosshair. Unfortunately, the plane crashed shortly after takeoff from base camp. They lost their airplane mechanic, which seems particularly awful. So far, he's managed to explore a good chunk of the surrounding area. And now he's just looking out towards an abandoned ship and 2 abandoned camps. They're looking for a place to take shelter for the night. Thankfully, they still have some time left. But I upkept. Yep, so we can go to 2 out of 7 Doom, which I did, and we can draw our encounter card. Apeirophobia, again. This one's going to be bad, though. Test Will X, where X is shelter value. So this is 1 will against 4, so I'm not going to succeed. I could put a bunch into this, but I won't. I don't want to take a bunch of horror. Place 2 clues on your location or add a frost token to the bag. Oh, I hate it. Oh! I also have forewarned. This seems like a decent forewarned target. Play when you draw a non-weakness treachery. Place 1 of your clues on that location. Cancel that card's revelation effect. So I would lose 2 clues if I failed, but I could just spend 1 to cancel. Seems like a decent play. I'm going to do it. As Monterey ventures out into the wastes and sees again the frozen ship beyond and the dead, lifeless camps in all directions, he realizes many have come here and none have left, and that creeping sensation, that phobia he had, strikes up on him again. But he's forewarned. This time, he knew what was going to happen. He has to take deep breaths, keep things under control. I'm going to place 1 of my clues on my location, and then I'm going to discard that card. Cancel its revelation effect. Gives me a few turns to get out of it. We're back right here, and we're going to try to get the clues off of this location. 2 Shroud. I have 5 intellect. I'm going to use deduction and quick thinking on this investigation. Let's get into it. Which takes me up to 7? 7 to 2? 3 to 2. So I did not succeed by 2 or more, but I did succeed. So I get 2 clues. Again, as a sense here of what's like going on, Jack is trying to find the shortest, most direct paths out of the wastes onto the ship and then back to either of the campsites that they can see nearby, hoping against hope that there will be some sort of supplies there that they can use. I'll use Milan to get a resource. Oh, Maximilian. Second action, I think I'm going to try to get that last clue. Again. Yeah. 5 to 2. Let's just do it. On the nose, baby. Ooh, got that last clue. Having more clues is good, he said confidently. So, Crosshair, I'll catch you up real quick. Jack felt the phobia coming on again, but he was forewarned this time as to what might happen, which is one of the events that I have with my 3 XP from In the Thick of It. I placed a clue and I canceled the card's revelation effect. My quick thinking did not go off, unfortunately, but I got my clues and we're ready to move on. I'm going to use the hiking boots. And then I got the clue! Exactly. I'm going to spend 2 clues to move to Icebreaker. I feel like we're making progress. We're revealing places. We're going to see what's in this Icebreaker landing here. We effected a difficult landing on Ross Island shortly after midnight on the morning of the 9th. Glacier, uncharted, shelter 5. Again, pretty good. You could take shelter inside the ship, but like, maybe we should go to camp instead. 2 Shroud, 2 clues. Parlay. Test Intellect 4 to search the trapped ship for supplies. The trapped ship. Oh, it's trapped, not that it's got traps. Okay. If you succeed, either remove a frost token from the chaos bag or record small radio in the supplies recovered section of the campaign log. That's interesting. I like that. I should have played fieldwork. Silly, silly, silly. Very silly, actually. I should have done that. Oh well. I do like recording things. Me too, Crosshair. I do like having a small radio... Well, here's the question. Is the small radio going to be more useful than removing a frost token? Gut instinct says yes. Frost tokens are the worst, and Monterey Jack, as has been pointed out by the nerdy filmmaker, is notoriously underdressed. So we moved in because of hiking boots, which means I still have an action left. I really should have played fieldwork. Very foolish. I guess I've got fieldwork down now. Just to have it out. Yeah, exactly, Crosshair. It can't be that bad, right? The skittering nonsense will get a little closer, so the creature is hunting back towards us, although unbeknownst to Jack that it is doing so. And we moved... I was one location away? Oh, shit. Where did I start my turn? I started my turn at Icy Wastes, right? Because I investigated and I moved. Yeah. So I will draw a card at the end of the investigation phase. And then now that it's upkeep, I'll also upkeep into... Tekalili. A madness weakness. Still came that eldritch mocking cry. Tekalili. Discard a card at random from your hand. Place this card on the bottom of the Tekalili deck. Okay. So this is... Ah! Of course, Saren. He's wearing Bermuda shorts! Jack, stepping onto the ship, hears an echo of that cry from before and whirls around, expecting to see a whole army of these ink-like creatures, but thankfully, nothing appears. It is just something in his mind. I have to discard a card at random from my hand. That's super bad. That's our whip. That is Monterey Jack's signature bullwhip. Oh, Thelia! You've been lurking whilst eating. I'm very happy to see you, Thelia. Welcome to Doomed. I mean, you've been here for a while, which is cool. Welcome back, then. I hope you're doing well. Super happy that you're here. Aha. There we go. I hope you're doing well. I just said that. What do I have to say? You've been applying to work. You need to get your stuff in the mail. Yeah, no, I hope... Oh, your move! When did you move? Did you move, like, recently? Or are you moving soon? I can't remember. It's hard keeping track of everything. My brother, my real-life brother, not Monterey Jack's brother, my real-life brother moved on December 31st. Which is still in the process of moving. The first mini break... Thelia, is it a move if you don't have at least 3 mini breakdowns or 1 major meltdown? Honestly. You have to question everything before you can move your whole life. Joking aside, you fucking got this. He said, pointing furiously. Yeah, I know, Ellie Spot. I'm laughing at my brother's misfortune. It's like Schadenfreude, but bro Schadenfreude. So, my brother had to move because his now fiance is 7.5 months pregnant. So they are looking for a place that's a little bigger than the 1-bedroom apartment that they're currently living in. The best place that they found was available on January 1st. The way that a lot of leases work in Canada, and it's not always like this, but, you know, in my experience, leases are on a yearly basis. So when, you know, your lease, you know, you have to either break it early or whatever, and then you essentially have to move at the end of a month. It just so happened that he had to move at the end of, you know, on New Year's Eve day, which is awful. Interesting fun fact, which I'm sure we've discussed on stream before, Montreal, specifically, almost all of the leases in Montreal for apartments are July 1st to June 30th. Just some strange coincidental thing. I don't know why. Nobody can tell me. July 1st is Dominion Day in Canada, aka Canada Day, aka the day where we celebrate Canada's independence, July 1st, 1867. In Montreal, there's politics, and we won't get into it, but there's politics in Quebec around the country of Canada anyway. So instead of celebrating Canada Day, Montreal celebrates Moving Day. Because everybody moves on June 30th, July 1st. You can't get a truck. All of the narrow streets are blocked with trucks. Everyone throws their couches out on the road, and you can just grab couches everywhere. It's insane. Exactly, Ellie Spot. My brother and his friend did basically the whole move on their own, because of course his fiancée is 7.5 months pregnant. Okay. Yeah, I think so, Flower. Exactly. Okay, and Crosshair's right as well. And Thelia says, your cosmetology license came in the mail yesterday. F yeah. Did I get roped into helping? No. I'm a terrible brother who lives too far away and is too wrapped up in his own streaming games for people on the internet. I am actually headed to see my family this coming week, which means I won't have a stream on Tuesday, for example, and other things throughout the week. But I'll be updating Crosshair, who will update the Discord if I don't do it already. Saren, I agree. I fully agree. When Liz and I moved in here, we called in many favors. I have helped many people move, so a lot of people helped me. Thanks to the nerdy filmmaker in chat, who I know you were one of the people who helped. Thank you. But after this, if there are any more moves, abso-freaking-lutely not. Okay. Are we still, like, playing this game, by the way? I think so. Nerdy is mad, and I understand, because the night that we did, it was a multi-day move for a few reasons, but specifically the first night that we moved in, there were a lot of things left in the house that we had to move out, and it was raining, so it was very muddy. It just wasn't a very nice day, but big hearts. Crosshair and Crosshair's bro have duo moved every single time with no backup. Oh, after you used movers, never looked back. Ugh. Crosshair, that sounds like a story, capital S. All right. I don't remember where we were. Let's get back into it. What did I do? Did I just upkeep? I drew Tekalili and I discarded something. Aw. That's nice, Saren. Are they... Now, Saren, I want to flag that. Do you mean, like, technically? Because Nerdy Filmmaker is still the Nerdy Filmmaker. Oh, I see. Oh, boy. Eesh, Crosshair, that's too many moves. It's too many, Crosshair. I disagree. I disagree with your ability to move. Okay, we upkept. We discarded a card at random, which was the whip. Oh, yeah, Saren, I'd say so. Yeah, look, there's like a whole Antarctic scene behind me over here. You don't get that in just any old house. Cthulhu! Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to Doomed. Fuck, I have to start doing welcome back and the qualifier in the same sentence. Get it together, Scott. Good. Really good, Cthulhu. I'll give you a quick overview. Here's the map. We've opened up a good amount of it. Monterey has recovered some supplies, some spare parts, and some green soapstone. There is a single skittering nonsense after him. We've managed to avoid polar mirages and things like that. He's just entered Icebreaker Landing. We're debating whether we want to remove a frost token or get a small radio if we succeed the parlay test here. What else do I want to say? A Tekalili weakness just forced me to discard the bullwhip. Which is particularly bad. But how cold is it? It's pretty good, honestly. I think warmth-wise we're doing okay. Alright. We go to 3 out of 7 Doom. And we draw our encounter card? Yeah, we draw our encounter card. Ice Shaft! This isn't... I'm not too scared about this. Somehow there's another shaft in the... I'm not going to call this an ice shaft. While exploring the old icebreaker, Monterey lays a foot on some rickety... not balconies. What do you call those? Like, walkways. And it starts to cave in. Let's see if he can get away from it. I'm 6-3 on this test. I'm just going to take it straight. Yep, perfect. Good, done. Boom! Avoided. Phew. Let me go back to the investigation phase. Okay. I'd love both of these clues, and I'd love to parlay here. Oh, also, Cthulhu, we have yet to see Offer I Can't Refuse, and I have 18 resources. Just insane. I haven't really been spending them. Ooh! Pocket telescope! Now that feels like something very fun. I think I might do that, actually. I'm going to play pocket telescope, because I think that's going to be useful later. I think. Yeah, I think so. Okay. We want to try this parlay action. Oh, hi, Max. Okay, welcome to Doomed, Max. We're going to search the trapped... Yes, of course, Crosshair. We got to look for the... The objective here, of course, is to find somewhere safe to set up camp. I'm probably going to ask chat what they think, but so far there's 2 campsites, which feel like a good place to set up camp. And there's Crystalline Cavern, which is a cavern, a cave, which feels pretty good, too. Max, come say hi to Thelia. Maximilian? He's totally going to knock the green screen down on my head. I really hope not. That would be terrifying. Honestly, I think so too, yeah. 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 Crosshair, I agree. Crosshair. So currently the places that require 4 clues to enter are the Barrier Camp, the Remnants of Lakes Camp, and the Crystalline Cavern. Thelia is voting for Crystal Caves. I'm going to put up a poll, actually, really quick. Where should we try to make camp? Lakes Camp? Abandoned. I'm going to look up abandoned. Our camp? Probably not abandoned. Or... Alright, I'm starting this poll. I'm going to leave it while I take my turn here. Feel free to vote, !vote, and then space 0, 1, or 2 for where you feel like we should try to make camp, depending on what the shelter is there, and so on and so forth. Thelia, if you don't vote, I will count your vote for Crystalline Caverns, because I feel like that's what you wanted to do. Well, that's a good point, Cthulhu. I would say, Cthulhu, you do know stuff, and I think I know what that stuff is that you might know. So I would say if there's something thematic for our good friend Jack that you're like, oh, Jack would definitely want to check out this abandoned camp or whatever, let me know, and you can vote. Otherwise, I leave it to you. I trust you. I trust you. You're an eldritch god. Okay. All right, pocket telescope is down. Now, we want to try this parlay. I really want to see if I can find... In that case, I want to see if I can find any supplies on this ship. Probably that small radio. That feels good. Vote for the lulz. For the lulz! We're going to investigate 5 to... We're going to parlay 5 to 4? I'm just going to get stuck here if I don't. Let's try it. 5 to 4. Ooh! The parlay goes off! Alright. Either remove a frost token from the chaos bag or record small radio. I feel absolutely convinced that Jack would, like, hoard or, like, loot anything he could. So we're going to grab small radio from the supplies. Jack is exploring this ship for any sort of thing that he can take that will help him survive, priority 1, or that he can sell, priority 2. Shelter at the crash site for the lulz. Okay, hang on, Crosshair. What's this? Jack would probably follow the plan to go to their own camp, but he'd also be the type to be like, oh, Dyer wanted to go to the camp, but, you know, a cave is safer. Oh, yes. You, Theli, and Lammy enjoy the deep holes. Yes, well, you know. For sake. You folks. Oh, I like all you folks very much. Now, We also need at least 4 clues before we can enter the Barrier Camp, Remnants Camp, or the Crystalline Cavern. The poll will be closing soonish. I think a lot of people got their votes in. It looks pretty overwhelming, but I'll give it a few more minutes. I'd love to get the rest of these clues before I go to the Crystalline Caverns. Actually, do I need it? Yeah, it's far, eh? 5? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that takes me through places I've been. Is he an underground temple archaeologist or a more surface one? Great question, Cthulhu. Jack has been raiding tombs for as long as I can remember. I would say underground temple archaeologist, yeah. So good question, Saren. It is 3 moves if I go to Barrier Camp, Crags, Crystalline Cavern. However, Barrier Camp requires 4 clues to move into. And I only have 3 right now, so I need to be really careful how many clues I get. You know what I'm gonna do? This is insane, but I love it. I'm gonna move. Yeah, I'm gonna move off this location back to the icy wastes because the telescope allows me to investigate a revealed connecting location as if I was there. So we can use this telescope, which obviously Jack carries a telescope for all the viewing he has to do. Oh, you're right, Crosshair. Ah, the thingy! The nonsense, it's coming! No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. Run, Jack, don't do it! We'll try to get a clue here. We'll try to get a clue here first. You know what, we'll just go 5 to 4 and just hope for the best. 5 to 4! Yay! A resource from Milan and a clue. But it won't come this turn, Crosshair. This is the key. In the enemy phase, the skittering nonsense skitters ever closer to the icy wastes. But of course, Jack is still completely oblivious. He is currently looking through the icebreaker for any possible more loot he can find. But he's found a small radio, at least, that seems to work, which will be very useful. We go to, I didn't move this turn, so I don't get my ability, but I go to upkeep, draw a card, gain a resource. Archive of Conduits. This looks pretty good. That seems, I'll talk about that shortly. I think this is a good time. I'll leave, no, I'm gonna end the poll here. Ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. The Crystalline Caverns, quite pretty. With 4 votes. It is, isn't it? There is quite a bit of agenda left, Cthulhu. This is shortly to be 4 of 7 Doom, and it looks like there's an agenda under this one as well, so I think I have more time. I think I'm gonna try... It is true, 2 whole turns to get to the caverns, and I can only resign if the location has no clues on it. So I'm probably going to have to go there and clear some more clues anyway. But it's so pretty! Ellie Spot is correct. It is very pretty, and that's why we've got to go there. Okay. We'll be looking at this Archive of Conduits in a moment. I think this is going to be very interesting. But first, we have to go to 4 out of 7 Doom. We have to draw an encounter card here on the ship. Antarctic Wind. Well, that doesn't seem good. Attached to the nearest location without a copy of Antarctic Wind attached. Investigators at attached location cannot play cards or draw cards from their deck. Great. I mean, thanks a lot, Arkham. This is a card game, dude. What the shit? This card literally just says, oh, if you're here, you can't draw or play. I'm like, so what's the point of a card game? You can commit. Ah, I chose Rolled, Cthulhu. Felt very appropriate for Monterey Jack immediately after a plane crash to immediately, hook onto the Explorer to get him to safety. Also, Cthulhu, he's done one thing for me so far, and it's beat this polar mirage, and I am thrilled. Okay. Antarctic Wind says you can't play or draw at this location. So go back to the investigation phase. I want a clue, and then I want to move and evade the skittering nonsense, and then continue. Yeah, heck yeah, Cthulhu. The way I tend to play Cthulhu, Polar Mirage is devastatingly bad. Like, and I understand not all investigators, not all people play the same way. Like, discard each non-weakness card in your hand. No cards in hand? No problem. Like, right? It's like, it's not a big deal. But I tend to hoard. Okay, we want this last clue. And then we move, and then we want to evade this skittering nonsense. Roll's the one you're not going to eat, like those people who got stuck in the Andes when their plane crashed. Saren. Saren, I'm hoping we don't have to eat anybody, okay? Look, Saren, I'm just hoping we don't have to eat anyone. Okay? Oh, boy. Alright. Let's get the last clue. Do I care? Do I care about the last clue here? I don't think I do. I have 4 clues, and I don't need any more. If I don't go to the crags, I don't need any more clues, so let's not even bother. Perfectly good corpse by the plane crash. Damn it, Flower. So let's just do it. F it. We're gonna move. The skittering nonsense engages us. Monterey is heading back through the icy wastes. Now that he's got this radio, it's time for him to find a place to rest. And ideally, the cavern that he saw when he was down at Snowdrifts would make an excellent place, he feels. Excuse me. The skittering nonsense is a 2/2/4. That's exactly Cthulhu. I'm hoping we get radio signal in there. Fieldwork doesn't fire. I'm going to evade the skittering nonsense. 6/4. I could cheap shot or backstab. I could backstab this skittering nonsense. Is that better? I think it's better. I think we should just kill it. Evade it and move on? I think we should just kill it at this point. Monterey has, like, you know, as I've said before, some roguish training. Well, just the one, thankfully, Crosshair. Phew. Shuffle the top card. Ah, yes, Cthulhu. I did mention en passant. Frost tokens are -1, draw another token. If you draw 2 or more frost tokens in the same test, it's an auto fail, which is really nice. It's almost like the game's like, not hard enough. The location says treat the modifier of the first frost token as -3. There was a thing, I think it was down here, Crosshair, where it said shuffle the top 3 into the... Anyway, we're going to backstab. I think Monterey sees this, again, this absolutely insane-looking creature driving through the ice towards him. He's going to reach over to Elia and... oh, no. He's going to reach over and draw a blade, and he's going to attempt to destroy the creature as it approaches. Backstab is an event. Fight, using agility. This attack deals +2 damage. This is a core set card, so the art is like kind of classic Arkham Horror card game. Do we like this art, folks? I like it. I think it's cool. This is a person who's, I think, gone to a party to be like, well, time to knife some socialite in the back. Like, that's pretty intense. Vote yes. Press 3 to vote yes. Okay. So we're fighting with agility, and it wait, whoa. I need to keep backstab. It deals 3 damage. Thanks, Aaron. So no, we're just gonna evade. Yeah, no, we're just gonna evade. I feel like there's gonna be I would love it to... Why is it not a trick, Cthulhu? I agree. Everybody likes the dress and thigh and boot, huh? Is that what's going on? I'm here for the finger curls. Sorry, finger waves. I feel like she has wavy hair. Scott, get it together, buddy. Okay. I want to defeat this creature. I also know that there's going to be some other monsters at some point, and I don't want to waste damage. So let's use... Oh, God. Yeah, let's use Cheap Shot. No, I don't disagree, Crosshair. Let's use Cheap Shot instead. No, see that? Then I should just be evading. I'm just going to evade. 6-4. Wavy hair? Yes. Finger curls or finger waves? Definitely not. My apologies, Thelia. Well, my apologies. It looked like a... Whoop, looked like a little... But you're the expert. You're the newly licensed cosmetologist. And I'm just the oldly licensed streamer. All right. Let's just do it. We're going to evade. 6-4. Shit. Oh, God. Now I have to evade. No, now I have to kill it. Or it's going to attack me. Do I care? Yeah, I can just evade next round. If I evade it, I'll have to evade it again next turn. Ooh! Good point, Cthulhu. I was going to do that after I dealt with the nonsense for reasons. Not for reasons, for, like, cool reasons. Ugh, fine, I'll backstab it instead. Ugh, fine. So now I'm fighting 6-2. As as Jack attempts to mush the dogs, the sled dogs, on to try to get them away, the creature keeps pace. And, no, Thelia, definitely not. Don't worry about it. I love it. All good, Cthulhu. We're going to backstab this thing instead. 6-2. Well, shit. That's perfect. Okay, great. 2-2, and I don't like those tokens, but defeated. Shuffle the top card of the Tekalili deck into your deck without looking at it. Done. As Jack tries to get away from the creature, it keeps pace with the sled dogs. He leaps out of the sledge, which is, you know, admittedly not moving too fast, driving a blade into the creature, which sort of expands as it dissolves into the snow, leaving nothing in its wake, except the horrible screech that it makes. Now that it is the end of my turn, I will exhaust Pocket Telescope to look at the revealed side of a connecting unrevealed location. Eee! So Monterey is going to use his telescope to take a peek at Barrier Camp, which is the one that people were... No, it was Lakes Camp. It was Lakes Camp that people were down for. Remnants of Lakes Camp. Crosshair? Well done. It is exactly Shelter 7. 3 Shroud, 3 clues. Action, test Combat 4 to dig through the snow in search of supplies. If you succeed and the supplies recovered, record Wooden Sledge. I'm definitely not passing a fucking Combat 4 test, so I'm not going here. Looks like the Crystalline Caverns it is, baby! Oh yeah, I should have listened to them. Damn it. Saren's correct. It's the end of my turn. I started at the Icebreaker Landing, so I can draw a card. Oh, it's an offer I can't refuse. I'm disappointed. The only thing there is a wooden sledge. Lose 5 resources. Oof. This is someone's coming to collect. Well, I mean, fingers crossed, Crosshair. Enemy phase, there are no longer any enemies on the board. Thank you, Crosshair. I will. Upkeep draws us an Eon chart. Feels good. And Mythos takes us to 5 out of 7 Doom. And we draw an encounter card, which is Dark Aurora. The phosphorescent organisms supplied light with vast effectiveness, and doubtless atoned for the loss of the familiar polar auroras of the outer world night. Test Will 3. For each frost token revealed during this test, take a horror. If you fail, take 2 horror. Is it even worth committing logical reasoning? Oh no, I'll just heal the horror with logical reasoning. 1 to 3. Oh, I failed. Oh no, it doesn't matter. I did a huge fail. I'll take 2 horror. Oof. Actually, I'll put 1 on me and 1 on Dr. Milan Christopher. Hey, look, hey, free toboggan. Ain't nothing to turn your nose up at. Crosshair knows what's up. I could ride on that sledge. I could burn that sledge. It's the blender in the background is what that sound is, for those who are interested. Again, I have a feeling like this is venturing back through the icy wastes. Monterey takes a deep breath and sort of lets it out as he watches the brilliant green and blue lights of the aurora dance over the horizon. Great question, Flower. I believe it was a sledge, which I think is like a sled, but bigger. Like it's a thing you can put stuff on, right? It's a sledge. Someone can tell me. You could use it as a hammer. Boo! Saren, boo! Oh, yeah. I'm going to use Pocket Telescope to look at the other camp now. In American usage, sled is the general term, but often implies a smaller device. Sledge implies a heavier sled for moving freight or massive... Oh, okay, so it's a big sled. That's good. Antarctic wind is gone. Barrier camp, we're going to look at it as well. Our camp on the frozen shore below the volcano's slope was only a provisional one, headquarters being kept aboard the Arkham. Barrier camp is a 7-shelter location, 4 shroud and 3 clues. Action parlay. Test willpower 4 to convince some of the other explorers here to give you something useful. If you succeed in the supplies recovered section of the campaign log, record dynamite. Unfortunately, Crosshair, I will never, ever pass a willpower 4 test, and that's kind of infuriating. I have plans for how our good friend Jack is going to be able to do that later, but not yet, unfortunately. Okay. So, here's the thing. I now have stuff I want to do. I feel like it's going to be very useful. Yeah, exactly, Crosshair. Yeah, Agility 7, find some stuff. Okay. I think I need to take a quick break before we finish the scenario off. Is everyone okay with that? It's my stream. I'm doing what I want. If anyone has to leave during the break, that's cool. I understand it's probably late for a lot of folks. But yes, thank you, Saren. I will hydrate. I also need to use the washroom. Have some water. Go make some water and then have some water. Folks, we're going to be right back for the rest of Doomed. We're going to see if Jack can make it into the cavern and figure out what's in there, if there's anything exciting. And we'll see what else he can find out here in the Antarctic wastes. This has been very exciting so far. Thank you so much. We're going to be right back on Doomed. Hello and welcome back to Doomed. Solo playthroughs through Arkham Horror, the card game with a focus on roleplay and storytelling. Saren, I'm absolutely going to make that a note because I don't know why I haven't done that already, to be completely honest with you. Hydrate, posture, other checks that you can spend channel points on. I'm super into it. It's a great idea. So Saren, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Stretch. It's always a good one. I mean, I don't stream for more than 2 hours at a time. Sorry, clearly I'm just now over 2 hours. I don't stream for more than 2.5 hours at a time. So I feel like I usually get up every hour or so for the stretch and a walk around and stuff. I'm feeling in pretty good shape generally, but it's a good thing to redeem anyway. Okay. Well, damn Cthulhu. Oh, you got me. Shit. Okay. We're back. Jack here in the icy wastes, staring down many places where he needs to go, things he needs to find, stuff he needs to do. Okay. Here's what I really want to do. I want to play a couple things out here. I think that's going to be useful. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to play out a couple things. Exactly, Cthulhu. We're going to play out Eon Chart. Eon Chart appears to be a single slab of wood with some things carved into it. This is a relic. Monterey Jack has been keeping this chart with him. It's sort of... It's akin to a map of the region, but it's a combination of a relic he's retrieved from a temple and, compiled with William Dyer's notes. The true relic that has brought Monterey Jack here. It's not necessarily the be-all and end-all. I'm going to say that he's recovered this archive from the Icebreaker. Oh, hi, Crosshair. Welcome back to Doomed. Crosshair, we were just starting back up. I played out Eon Chart, which is a nice little accessory. Very nice for our good friend Jack. During your turn, exhaust Eon Chart, spend a secret, free trigger to move or evade or investigate. Quite nice. Archive of Conduits. I'm going to be playing this out for sure. This is an occult tome. Limit 1 per deck. Pocket canoe! That was me taking out a foldable canoe and throwing it. The Archive of Conduits, unidentified, says, limit 1 per deck. As an additional cost to play it, place a resource on 4 different locations as ley lines. Reaction. After you successfully investigate a location with a ley line, exhaust this asset, move that ley line onto this asset. Then, if there are 4 ley lines on it, discard it. Take its ley lines as resources, and record in your campaign log that you have identified the gateway. I feel like Jack has seen enough weird shit in his time investigating sort of like temples all over the world and so on, that he came across a couple of pieces of information that led him to William Dyer's report on Antarctica. The strange sigil, the one that's connected to his father's death. And this Archive of Conduits is a tome that is explicitly about conduits being able to travel from one place to another. I think it's important for him to try to identify what it means. Find the ley lines in this region. I'm going to play it. Second action. And it says, place 1 resource on 4 different locations as ley lines. And I have to exhaust this asset after I successfully investigate a region. So I'm going to 4 different locations that I'm definitely going to go to. I'm going to put 1 on the cavern. It doesn't say revealed, right? No, 4 different locations. Put 1 on my location. And then I'm going to put 1 on... I'm going to put 1 on the broad snowdrifts. And 1 on the frozen shores. Bam. Seems good. Those are the lowest shroud locations. So last action, I'm going to see about finding out the ley line here. I think Jack. Probably should just call him Monterey. Jack has explored enough in this region to sort of get a sense. I could also use the telescope to investigate as if I was there. So good. So good. So, but I may as well make some progress. I'm going to use the Eon Chart to move for free so that I can last action investigate with the pocket telescope. As Jack moves out of the wastes back to the ice sheet along the ocean and back towards the cavern. Cthulhu, I'll allow it. I think it's... I'll allow it. there's something nagging him about that icy wastes, and suddenly he visualizes a sort of top-down view of the paths he had mapped out, and he realizes that it matches almost specifically. Very nice crosshair. I love that that's a thing. Didn't realize it was a... Where did you get that? Oh, the Overwatch League. Amazing. That top-down view matches almost completely a segment of ley lines in his archive of conduits. And using the telescope, he's going to look back and see if he can identify where those ley lines are moving. I'm investigating a revealed connecting location as if I was there. So as if I were at the icy wastes, it has a shroud of 2. I'm investigating 5 to 2. Skull minus X, half the shelter value of my location. The icy wastes is where I was. Minus 2, success. We take the ley line and we put it on the archive. I ended up 1 location away, so I get to draw a card, and then in upkeep, I get to upkeep. Seems good. Oh, yes, thank you, Cthulhu. You're absolutely correct, yes. To use the archive, you have to exhaust it, which means you can't just zip around and grab all the clues at once. It takes time to map out the ley lines of a place like Antarctica. Mythos phase. We go to 6 out of 7 Doom. Shit, already? Ew, boy. As we move to the precarious ice sheet, Jack is starting to realize that things are coming together here for him. Being able to foresee, crashing here in this place was awful, and what happened to Takada specifically is horrific. But this is the place that holds the answers to his father's death. It holds the answers to many things in this world, and specifically this conduit that he's heard so much about. Fucking classic. Ancient evils. Now hang on. Oh, when you draw hazard treachery. Shit. Well, I don't have forewarned anymore, so you could not be forewarned if you tried. I know, Cthulhu. Isn't that just disgusting? Place a doom on the current agenda. It can and will cause the agenda to advance. Oh, there's a reset button now. Well, that's not very nice, is it? Agenda 2B. It dwells inside. These things, these manifestations, they're not beasts, or even alien creatures like those Dyer and Danforth encountered in their last expedition. You're not even sure they're entities at all. They have no shape, consisting of an almost protoplasmic substance that seeps back into the ice when harmed or whenever you escape their clutches. Given the persistence of these entities and the inclement, deadly conditions of Antarctica, you know you won't survive the night without finding shelter. Just as you're pondering what your next move should be, the ice beneath you rumbles with a tremendous force, letting out a terrifying groan. An earthquake? One of your party asks over the raucous noise. No, it's impossible, another replies. You share a dreadful glance. Could it be one of those things? Spawn the set-aside Terror of the Stars at the revealed location with the highest shelter value. Revealed location with the highest shelter value. 5, 4, 2, 4, 5. I think I'm going to put it back here at the icebreaker. I don't even know what this thing is, but I feel like... Terror of the Stars. The bringer of ice and death. It looks like a giant fly, and I hate it. 4 combat, 3 health, 3 evade, 3 health. It's an elite Eidolon. It's a hunter, and it's massive. Terror of the Stars gets plus 3 health. Okay, so it has 6 health. While it is ready, investigators cannot resign at its location or discover clues at its location. Victory 1. I'm not doing a ton of damage right now, so maybe that's a bad idea. Hits for 2 damage and 2 horror. We might just try staying ahead of this bad boy. Potentially. Right. Agenda 3A, running out of time. The sun hangs low in the sky, but never sets. Your party is exhausted from the long, arduous day. Though the sky is never plunged into the dark of night, you know now it's only a matter of time before you are forced to make camp. 7 doom, and we're running out of time. Time to draw an encounter card. Jack feels the ground rumble, and glancing back towards the icebreaker, the ship begins to groan and creak as something is trying to get out from underneath it. Let's draw an encounter card. Kindred Mist. That's fine. So it attaches to our location. Kindred Mist says, as a reminder, when one or more cards from the Tekalili deck would be shuffled into your deck, draw them instead. Yeah, crosshair there is. I can't remember what exactly at the moment, but being able to use Archive multiple times in the same turn would be pretty cool. Raven's Quill? Maybe? Alright. A mist creeps in from... oh, yes. I did Cthulhu. Oh, I didn't have to draw an additional one, no. Thank goodness. But I did draw one from... I drew Kindred Mist from the encounter deck. But let me know if I had a misplay or something. As I get the hell away from here. Yes, I drew Ancient Evils. It advanced the agenda. Oh, I see. You're absolutely correct. No, I didn't. That's the point. It advanced the agenda at the end of the mythos phase. Sorry, yes, Cthulhu, I misunderstood. I thought you meant, like, don't you have to draw one? And I was like, I did. But you mean I don't have to draw one, because it already advanced. Okay, cool. I shuffled just to be fair, because I shouldn't draw the thing that I, Ancient Evils was my encounter card. It advanced the agenda, so now we're into the investigation phase. Great. Let's get the hell out of here. We're going to move back down towards the shores, I think, eh? Yeah. Ooh, good question, Flower. Shelter 5 at the snow graves, 4 at the snowdrifts. So 5 for the snow graves, and 5 over here at the landing. So, let's... I mean, I should just use Eon Chart, right? Base Camp and Barrier Camp were both 7. Sorry, Lakes Camp and Barrier Camp were both 7, but they're not. Neither of them are revealed. I used the telescope to have a look. So we're gonna free trigger move to Frozen Shores. We're gonna investigate here because I really want to get this archive done. I have 5 intellect against the 2 shroud of this location. So let's just do it. 5 to 2. Right? Yeah, 5 to 2. Skull, which is minus half of 2, is 1, so that's perfect. Got it. Now that Jack has started looking for ley lines here around the crash site, he can see them spreading out further and further away into these concentric circles that seem to all lead back to the cave. The cave where he was hoping to head in the first place. Second action, we're going to move into the broad snowdrifts. Third action, I don't have any... I can't use my archive here again, so instead I'm going to heal to horror. Logical reasoning. Play only if you have one clue. At least one clue. Choose an investigator at your location. Either heal 2 horror or discard a terror card in the threat area. I'm going to heal 2 horror. You bet, Crosshair. Frozen Shores gets +2 Shroud if an encounter card is attached to it. Broad Snowdrifts is the one with the weird reaction that says, oh, you really want some extra clues, huh? Well, for the low cost of a frost token, you can have them. Oh, yes, Polar Mirage. Great question. After you discover or take control of 1 or more clues at attached location, discard each non-weakness card in your hand. Now that's here at the Broad Snowdrifts, but of course, this is a ley line, Not a clue. Phew. So the hope is that Jack is going to be able to continue to identify where these ley lines leave. But last action, arriving back at the snowdrifts, he's going to take a deep breath and try to find some sort of logical explanation for the things that he's seen so far. He can't explain the creatures, but the ley lines must be an expression of the power of this place, and if they are leading to the cavern, then he can feel them as well, and that makes sense to him. In the enemy phase, the terror of the stars will hunt towards Jack. Slowly, but oh so surely. Oh, at the end of my turn, I started at the ice sheet, which is 2 or more locations away, so I'm going to draw a card and gain a resource. Embezzled treasure. And then upkeep draws me a card and gains me a resource. It's like a truck or something outside. I can feel it vibrating. Ooh. We go to 1 out of 7 doom on the new agenda. And here at the Broad Snowdrifts, we draw an encounter card. Fuck's sake. Okay, this doesn't actually do anything this time, at least. Obviously, the terror of the stars is an ancient evil. It is a creature out of time, out of imagining, and beyond human comprehension. But thankfully, Jack hasn't seen it yet. He can merely feel its presence. As we go back to the investigation phase. Now, I would love to start playing this Embezzled Treasure. This is a new card from the Scarlet Keys. Embezzled Treasure is a 0-cost asset. It says, free trigger, exhaust it, move up to 2 resources from your resource pool to Embezzled Treasure, up to a maximum of 10. Forced, when you resign, or when the game ends, for every 2 resources on Embezzled Treasure, an investigator of your choice begins the next scenario with 1 additional resource. So by hoarding and stealing in this scenario, you can start next time with more. Feels very useful for me. Feels very useful for someone who has a debt they need to repay. So, first action, we're going to play Embezzled Treasure. Second action, I'm going to deal with Broad Snowdrifts. I'm going to try to get the ley line off of Broad Snowdrifts. Yeah. No. I'm going to free trigger move 2 resources onto Embezzled Treasure. Free action from the canoe. I think I'll use it to... Yeah, you know, you're right, Crosshair. I may as well use it now, right? It doesn't disappear when it runs out of secrets, so I'll just do that. Free trigger. Investigate. With the knowledge of the ley lines now in hand, Jack knows exactly where to look, and he's quickly able to try to uncover them. We're going in at 5 to 1. Gain a resource from Milan if I succeed. That works for me. So there are no clues, but I'm gaining this ley line. Awesome. Second action, move, spending 4 clues. Oh, no, it takes them from your pool. Move up to 2 resources from your resource pool to Embezzled Treasure. So, like, you've stolen money or things over the course of the scenario, and then you're, like, banking it for next scenario. But, I think this is cool. It says, an investigator of your choice begins the next scenario with 1 additional resource in their resource pool per 2 on the thing. So, I'm going to choose me. But you don't have to. You could choose the fighter. You could choose the people who have to spend money. Second action. We're moving out of here and into the crystalline caverns. I'm so happy that you all selected the crystalline caverns. As an additional cost for you to enter this location, investigators at your location must spend 4 clues as a group. Parts, especially upper parts, seemed to be of a lighter colored rock than any visible strata on slopes proper, hence an evidently crystalline origin. 5 shroud, fuck's sakes, 3 clues. Shelter 8. Yes. Action. Test agility 5 to climb up one of the crystalline walls in search of evidence. If you succeed, in the supplies recovered section of the campaign log, record miasmic crystal. Crosshair, I think you also predicted a lot of this. So, like, come on. What's going on here? All right. I'm going to buy clues from this location for sure. But while I can't use archive. Yeah, Saren makes a good point. Miasmic crystal, like, miasma's bad. But maybe... Well, it says you're searching for evidence, right? Look, Jack has instinct, okay, if nothing else. I can't use the archive again this turn, so I'll save one of my investigations for next round. Ooh, fieldwork! As I move into this location, fieldwork fires. After you move to a location, if that location has at least one clue on it, exhaust fieldwork, you get +2 skill value for the next skill test you perform this phase. It can also mean resembling vapors. Well, maybe the crystal resembles, it has like vaporous structure inside of it. Should I go 7 to 5 investigating? Or should I... No, I should go 8 to 5 on the agility test. Yeah. Immediately upon entering the cave. Oh, I have an idea! I have an idea. Immediately upon entering the cave, Jack can tell that this will be an excellent place to make camp. It's relatively warm, it's sheltered from the outside, and it's large enough that... Oh, goodbye, nerdy filmmaker. Wonderful to see you. Have a great night, and see you around. We'll be wrapping up pretty soon, I'm pretty sure. I just need 3 clues. What can I say? Yeah. It's large enough that there's space to spread out and avoid trouble if anything comes in. We're going to take this test to climb up one of the crystalline walls in search of evidence. Fieldwork is the ability for, you know, Monterey to use his instinct to try to solve problems. So I'm going to try to scale a wall. I have 6 agility, +2 from fieldwork, +1 from nimble to make me 9. 9 to 5. Success? Sweet success. I passed by 1. So Jack immediately clambers up the wall and recovers a piece of the crystalline cavern. It seems to have strange vapor floating about within. Now that doesn't count as a thing, as an investigation, because I wasn't investigating, but nimble fires. For each point the skill test succeeds by 1, you may immediately move to a connecting location. Thank you, Crosshair. And this is gonna seem weird, but I'm gonna move back into the broad snowdrifts, because this will let me use my fieldwork again next turn. Pretty sweet. Pretty sweet move. Oh, yeah, I ended my turn where I started, so I don't get anything. Here, the terror of the stars ventures and lumbers through the remnants of Lake's camp. Jack can feel something closing in on him. Aha! And it is. That screeching sound comes out from the darkness again. Tikalili. Discard an asset you control. Holy shit, what a piece of crap. Oh, well, this Eon chart. I'm not using this Eon chart anymore. As he watches in horror, the chart that he was looking at, the symbols and sigils on it begin to shift and break. The chart itself remains intact, but the images on it are a jumble now. Tekalili goes back on the bottom of the Tekalili deck. Eon chart only works once per Eon. Yeah, exactly. Well, thrice per Eon, but still, like, it worked, right? We go to 3 out of 7 Doom already, but I just need 3 clues and to resign at Crystalline Cavern. Yeah, that's what I need. That's what I need. That's okay. That's doable. And we draw an encounter card. Polar Vortex! Oh, shit. Attached to your location. When you end your turn at the attached location, each card you control with health takes a direct damage. I'm not gonna stay here at the Polar Vortex. The spinning maelstrom of snow coming from the west starts to kind of make Jack nervous as he looks back towards the warmth of the cavern and realizes that's where they need to be, really. We go back to the investigation phase. I'm going to put 2 more resources on embezzled treasure. Because why not? Then, first action, we're going to move into the crystalline cavern. And I'm going to investigate. So I have 5 intellect, plus 2 from fieldwork is 7. Well, yeah, that is true. You can only move up to 2 at a time. Exhaust embezzled treasure. Move up to 2 resources from your resource pool to embezzled treasure. Oh, if I have time. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Well, also if you have Tim. Tim's very good at embezzling. That's why they call him Embezzle Tim. Okay. Because it's embezzled him. All right, we move. I'm going to use field work, and I'm going to investigate. I have 5 intellect, 7 with field work, 8 with think on your feet. Hit me up. Excellent work. Monterey begins to explore the cavern much more thoroughly, finding places where they can set up camp, places where they can make fires safely, places where they can take shelter if they need. So I'll get the clue, and crosshair. Move that ley line onto this asset. Then, if there are 4 or more ley lines on it, discard them, take them as resources, and record in your campaign log that you have identified the gateway. It's red and it hates us. Oh, you must be referring to beep. No, I'm just kidding. Jack has identified the gateway. Yeah, I definitely want to get away from this eldritch monster. And last action, I'm going to pay 4 with intel report to get the last 2 clues off this location. Now, unfortunately, I don't have an action left to resign. But I plan on resigning to Tacles. I do hope to... I could hiking boots out of here, but why would I? Exactly, I don't want to. Yeah, I want at least one more round, right? Again, Jack sort of sends the various people off to investigate the cavern, and they all report back with their findings. This indeed looks like the perfect place to set up camp. Enemy phase, the Terror of the Stars hunts. We lose the polar vortex because it only lasts for a round. Let me go to upkeep. I started 1 location away, so I will take a I'll draw a card. Yep, I thought that might be a Tekalili weakness. Discard a card at random from your hand. Put this on the bottom. The thing about the Tekalilis are they stay in your deck. They stay in your deck forever until you draw them. Then they get discarded. So I kind of want to draw through them a little bit. Great question, Crosshair. Let's have a look at what it says. The archive says, if there are 4 ley lines on it, discard it. Take its ley lines as resources, record in your campaign log that you have identified the gateway. And I did. So, Jack has identified the gateway. And by drawing a card at the end of my turn, I was able to draw another Tekalili out. Yes, I recorded that I found miasmic crystal as well. Okay. Perfect. Jack can hear something crunching ever closer and realizes that if they're going to be setting up camp, this would be the right time to do it. No, not at all, Crosshair. Don't worry about it. We go to 4 out of 7 Doom. We draw what I believe will be our final encounter card for the scenario. Polar Vortex, attached to your location. So, Polar Vortex says, when you end your turn at attached location, everyone takes a damage. The creature as it moves ever closer, is pushing ahead of it a front of cold, whirling air, a sort of hurricane of snow and ice, an absolutely horrific amount of snow and blizzard. Something that could hurt if they didn't find shelter immediately. We go to the investigation phase. I'm going to put 2 more resources on embezzled treasure, and then I'm going to first action resign. Each investigator is at the same location. That location has no clues on it. Resign. You set up camp. Each investigator resigns. Act 1B, Under the Stars. Exhausted and terrified by your ordeal, you decide this is as good a place as any to make camp for the night. Perhaps tomorrow you can salvage some kind of academic value out of this hellish journey. It seems unlikely, but for now, such things seem trivial. Survival is the only thing on your mind. Resolution 1. I think that went quite well. Let's have a look. Resolution 1. As you make camp, you are haunted by the memories of the creatures you encountered in the icy wilds. Such entities should not exist. Not even Dyer's report mentions anything of the kind. Grim silence settles over the expedition team as you set up shelter in the beautiful crystalline caverns. Thank you again for the vote. No one speaks of what they saw in the frozen wilderness. No one speaks of those awful sounds those monsters made. You can only hope that this camp is secluded enough to avoid the attentions of those things, whatever they may be. Except maybe the dynamite. In your campaign log, write camp blank. Record the name of the locations where we resigned. Pretty sure, yeah. So we're I'm gonna record Camp Crystal Lake, Camp Crystalline Caverns Lake, which is a bit of a joke because Friday the 13th takes place at Crystal Lake. And then it said to record the shelter value. You're not happy with shelter 8? What? Cthulhu? Oh, you wouldn't be Cthulhu, because you're an eldritch god. Record the camp's shelter value in parentheses. Fine. Each investigator earns experience equal to the camp's shelter value plus victory X. Holy shit. Well, there was no victory on the board. I was checking. But I earn 8 XP? A lot of fucking XP, man. No, to a minimum of 3. No, a minimum. Each investigator earns experience. So you could theoretically just resign at the crash site and gain 3 XP. You're right. Turn 1, resign. In the expedition team section of the campaign log, record the amount of damage and horror on each partner asset in play. Proceed to checkpoint 1, the disappearance. Well, Rold has no damage or horror on him. I say we did pretty well. Your sleep is anything but pleasant. The maddening cold bites at your flesh, and the ever-howling wind plays tricks on your mind, conjuring images of misshapen, inky forms bursting out of the ground and rending your party whole. Takata! Just as you are finally beginning to leave such horrid thoughts behind, your rest is shattered by a startled cry. You awaken to find your camp in shambles, and several of your companions missing. Several. To your dismay, footsteps lead away from the relative safety of your camp and into the frozen wilds beyond. To your dismay, footsteps lead away from the relative safety of your camp and into the frozen wilds beyond. Find and gather the story assets corresponding to the surviving members of the expedition team. Great question, Ellie Spot. There are 7 expedition team members, plus 1 is 8. Plus me, Jack, is 9. Plus Dr. Milan Christopher is 10. Probably some other people. Yeah, lots of folks. Ellie Spot's like, oh god, I meant people in chat. Hi. And now there are not so many. Well, okay, so hang on. Shuffle them. Randomly select a number equal to your camp's shelter value. Those characters are safe. So there are 8 members left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rolled. My shelter value is 8. So 8 members are safe. If every surviving member of the team is safe, proceed to the disappearance 2. You spend the next day resting and preparing for the next leg of your journey. Do not clean up the game yet. Skip Ice and Death Part 2 in its entirety. What? Okay. The missing team members surely could not have survived the night. In the expedition team section of the campaign log, cross off the name of each character who is marked as MIA. Well, that's weird, because none of them are. Yeah, Cthulhu, I didn't want to skip this. I don't want to skip Arkham. Proceed immediately to checkpoint 2, the attack. Damn. Should I have not set up camp at the frickin' place here? Checkpoint 2, the attack. Okay, you barely have time to rest before the sound of something erupting out of the ground nearby shakes you to your core. Massive tremors follow, sending cracks through the ice. Yeah, exactly. I guess, Crosshair. It's kind of disappointing. Massive tremors follow, sending cracks through the ice all around you. Then that noise, that insidious piping. Takalili. Whatever those creatures you encountered earlier were, you are sure they came from under the ice, breaking or seeping through to reach the surface. They must somehow live deep under the glacial crust of Antarctica. These quakes can only mean one thing. Your imagination stirs with the visions of these monsters bursting forth all around you, creeping into your eyes and mouth, controlling you. It is clear you aren't safe here any longer. The investigators must decide. Run for your lives! Stand and fight. Okay. So here's what's really lame about this. Jack wouldn't stand and fight. Jack would run. Right? Like, Indiana Jones fights when he has to. But, like, you know, the boulder's coming, he's gonna run from it. He's not an idiot. Jack has, like, a whip, and oh, God. Yeah, I know, but okay. No, I think that's right. Run for your lives. You will skip the next part of the scenario. You hastily grab what you can and flee the camp. You don't stop running until you've put many miles between you and the pursuing creatures. By the time you're able to set up camp again, it is past midday, and the team is utterly exhausted. Your new camp is makeshift and haphazard, but it will have to do. Skip Ice and Death Part 3 in its entirety. In your campaign log, record, the team fled to the mountains. Oh. I wasn't sure if I really wanted to, like, skip so much Arkham. Maybe there'll be more. Clean up the game! You will not return to this scenario for the remainder of the campaign. Proceed to Interlude 1, Restful Night, which I have a feeling is going to be long. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to do that another time, I think. Okay. We're going to save, and we're going to step away, because I can smell dinner's ready anyway. Yeah, I don't disagree, Crosshair. Just 3 little half sections, no big deal. Yeah, we are Ellie Spot, that's how we're running. Folks, thank you. Jack embarked upon this expedition to find out about his father, and to find out if there's any truth to what Dyer and Danforth have said. And so far, he's seen creations made of this protoplasmic goop. Sarah and Liz made some, I want to say paneer tofu, but that's wrong because paneer is cheese. It's like a spinach tofu thing. Like a spinach curry. I'm really excited is all. I don't actually know what it's called, but no, I can't remember. I'm really excited about it though. Okay, Jack made it here to Antarctica in the plane crash. They lost Takata, but he was able to explore, find lots of different supplies. They managed to take shelter at the cavern. Nobody was lost during the night. And then, when creatures began to make their way towards him to attack, he took off. Pew! Paneer style. There we go. Because paneer, I believe, is cheese, which we don't eat. We don't eat dairy cheese, right? So I think it's sort of in the style of. I might be wrong. Anyway, just message me on Discord. I'll try to remember. There you go. Next time on Doomed, we're going to see what happens when Jack and the rest of the team take shelter in the mountains. And we're going to see... Oh, yeah. No, of course, Ellie Spot. Good. Just making sure. And we're going to see what befalls him next time. As I said before, please join us tomorrow at 5 o'clock if you can on RPG Clinic. I know Sunday nights aren't great for everybody, but we're going to be doing the first of 2 sessions of Gothic Society, a Gothic spin on Good Society, facilitated by Liz, featuring John and me and Jess Filed, special guest. Quick pics on Discord, please. Thelia, I will try. I'm notoriously bad at photographing my food. It always looks like puke. I'm mostly joking. Thank you. Whoop. Almost died. Okay. Whew. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. I'm gonna go eat. Have a great rest of the evening. And of course, don't forget, if anything is ever pursuing you from beneath the ice, just run. That's what Jack would do. Great quote. Bye.